Got a mismatch with a big fella, Bajanishvili on him. Step back three. Got it!
Welcome to Sic'Em365 Radio.
Give us a lot of confidence, because we know we can play with anyone, like I said. So it is giving us confidence for Gonzaga. We know that we can play defense, so we can score the ball, so we just got to keep playing with each other.
Sic'Em365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
Good play by Meyer. And another turnover. Mitchell ahead to Teague for the lay-in.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
First half, our defense kept us in it. Second half, our offense came alive and played a lot more like we're capable of, and normally how we share the basketball. And when both ends of the court are working in tandem, we're a fun team to watch.
Have you downloaded the Sic'Em365 radio app? Do it today on the App Store and Google Play.
Chachua leading the way. And look at the block now by Meyer. Everybody's contributing for the Bears.
Now, here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
All right, here we go. In the morning after, the Baylor men's basketball team flexed their muscles up in Indianapolis against number 5 Illinois. It was a really good basketball game, and then all of a sudden, Baylor just took off. And I saw, and I don't know who it was, a national writer that just said that they have a gear that he's only seen in Gonzaga. Of course, there's only been a week of basketball, but Baylor wins. Gonzaga next, number 1 against number 2. Baylor takes care of business. We'll hear from Baylor men's basketball coach Scott Drew. We just spoke with him about an hour ago. He'll join us here momentarily. Barry Switzer today, Tim Brando today, Carthage football coach Scott Surratt today. They played China Spring. We heard earlier this week from Brian Bell. They've won 7 state titles in 12 years under Scott Surratt. He'll join us today. High school football pick'em. Much to get to when it comes to Baylor, Oklahoma as well. But last night, in a game where they're pushed by a team that's physical, a team with bigs inside, I thought the second half, Baylor's JTT, and I thought Matthew Myers, what he did, even though he could maybe, I even asked Scott Drew this a minute ago, do you want to take Valium when you watch him play? But it looked like just everybody contributed again with this team that's so loaded.
Yeah, they really did. It was a fantastic game. And, what I thought showed a lot of maturity was there are teams that I've seen that if the first half wasn't going the way that they wanted and it was close, that they could have fallen behind a little bit more. They maybe not would have had the lead at half, even just by a point. But they stayed within themselves long enough to get it done, to figure it out. And then at halftime, they kind of worked it out without, according to Davion Mitchell, without the coaches having to tell them much about, look, you got to move the ball around more. You got to spread it around. The other thing I noticed was that this team is not going to be reliant like they have in the past on if X player doesn't get 20 points and X player doesn't get 16, they're screwed. They have a lot of guys who can do that. So if somebody's cold, it's fine. They can move the ball around and somebody can get some points.
Yeah, it was really impressive, and, man, what a start to the season. And now, just makes this matchup on Saturday that much more gigantic with Gonzaga. That's going to be a highly anticipated game. It's already highly anticipated, and I think even more so now. But, as Paul said, just contributions from everywhere. It's a very deep roster. There's a lot of room for guys to continue to grow as well, and if they do, then that just bodes really well for Baylor in the long term because they've got the firepower. I don't think there's any doubt about that. They've got the talent. They've got the coach. They've got what you want. They got everything that you want. Lockdown defense, shooters. Guys on the boards. It's all there. So this is a special group that we knew going in. But I was really, I think, most impressed by just the amount of energy they provided in an arena where there wasn't a lot of energy to be had. You kind of had to create your own, and they were able to do that with their bench, getting really involved and making you feel like, hey, there's not a crowd here, but we're going to kind of almost make you not realize that because we're going to act as though everything's, the usual that it always is. So I enjoyed seeing that aspect of it as well.
All right, so a couple of notes I just happened to jot. First of all, Mark Few and Scott Drew to make this happen was fantastic, and both are going to be unbeaten playing Saturday. Adam Flagler, You know, it was a couple of games ago or whatever. It was L.J. Cryer that had the big game. Adam Flagler looks like he is right there in the same, you know, a part of that same mix with the guards. He's just unbelievable. The JTT athleticism, I saw where he transferred in. We didn't get to watch him, but I thought, okay, he's going to be probably a little uncoordinated, bigger. This guy can flat out. He looks like Taurean Prince.
Yeah, a little bit.
He has almost the look of a Taurean Prince.
He's a little bit more muscular.
Very muscular in the shoulders.
Yeah, he's big.
Guards. Mark Vitals is what I call them. And again, not a lot of points. He's kind of like J.D. Richards for the men. Rebounds and steals and block shots. And, he got beat up a little bit. He's undersized, but he plays big. He just, again, finds a way to get in the mix. It was interesting, but he didn't have to have a great game either. And I thought Matthew Meyer, there was a stretch of about a minute and a half when they popped that thing open. He got a steal. He got a jumper. He got a rebound. He made some defensive plays, and it's great because he's a year older and wiser. He still has never seen a shot he didn't like, and that's okay, as long as he chips in the other things that he does as well.
How many F words do you think that Vital has inspired from his opponents?
Oh, golly, a bunch.
How many F words do you think Mayer's
from the fan bases, yeah. He's sometimes from the Baylor fan base in a fun-loving, love-hate relationship. Now, I said this to Scott Drew, and I mentioned this. This is from Jeff Borzello. Gonzaga and Baylor will be the 43rd all-time meeting between AP number 1 and AP number 2 when it comes to men's basketball. All of those meetings combined, all of them, if you take the points for and points against, is +1. +1. And number 1 has a 2-game edge, so in other words, they're up, 20, I don't know, it'd be 23, I don't know how to be a 2-game edge, 22-20, 20, whatever. Yeah, they're 22-20. But the number 2 team has a little slight edge in points scored among those teams. Number 1 against number 2. Saturday, Gonzaga and Baylor ought to be one heck of a lot of fun. So earlier today, go ahead. Anyone else? Here's Scott Drew. This is fresh. We were a part of the Zoom post-game with him. Adam Flagler was a part of it, among others. But here's Scott Drew. We had a chance to visit with him right before they get back to work this afternoon. And yes, he was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Baylor head basketball coach Scott Drew with us on Sic'Em365 Radio. Well, I got to ask you, it's kind of like a player playing in a game the next day. Did you have to have any kind of treatment? Are you sore? Are you tired?
Man, I can tell you what, after being home for 10 days, I'm still full of energy. Woke up with a smile, and it's tough to go to bed after a big win like that and such excitement. And I tell you, with the empty arena, it's so important that you generate your own energy. And I thought our bench and the coaching staff was phenomenal and really giving a lot of energy to the guys on the court. And they responded by executing and really playing well second half.
What does it say about your team that the new guys, and they're new in a sense that they're new to playing in games, but Adam and Jonathan were here all last year, but that when they came in spite of the pandemic and everything, that they fit so seamlessly into what you're doing?
Well, I think that first is a great compliment to the players on the team that welcome the new guys and then do a great job in bringing them along, teaching them our culture and just how we do things. And it's been a player-led team, and they make those guys feel comfortable. And most importantly, they instill that work ethic of getting better that our teams had. So, and that year out, the guys really improve. And then when it's their time to play, they're able to show that.
It's interesting how much they get along, because I thought there were a couple of moments in a game where there was a little bit, not individualism, but it wasn't the ball movement like you have had so much. Did you see a little bit of that? And is that something that's a challenge with so many players so talented?
No question, especially if you think about it. It's a first nationally televised game, big game, 2 top 5 teams, and it's more players just have confidence in their ability and they're trying to make plays. And then when you relax, calm down, and realize let's make plays for others, that's when the game really becomes easy. And hence, that's why second half we had 10 assists and shot 55% from the field and scored 51 points. So when we're making plays for others, we're a lot better than trying to create on our own.
The way that Davion has improved his offensive game, and not that it was that bad in the first place, but what does that mean for your team that he can also now kind of be a fill-it-up scorer at times?
Well, again, that shows you the work that he's put in since arriving at Baylor. I know he deserves a lot of that credit with the GAs and managers that have rebounded him a lot for him over the years, and his hard work's just showing. And that's something that we had. I mean, his offense has gotten better each and every year, and we knew coming into the season he'd really improved his consistency on his shot, and we feel great when he takes threes and when he has good looks.
You know, it's just amazing that you know, Jared Butler was, 6 of 18 from the field, and how do the players recognize who's hot, whose night it is? Is that something also special about this team? They know whose time, like Maceo had a little stretch there, Myers, is that kind of the other thing about this team that's so special?
Well, I think definitely that comes with making plays for your teammates and recognizing that basketball IQ, not caring who gets the attention, and more importantly, just what's winning plays and best for the team. I can tell you, though, at the beginning of the year, practice is one thing. When you get in the games, it's a different chemistry, different rhythm. So without scrimmages and things like that, I know every team is figuring out things in front of everybody that's watching the game, and I can tell you that the things we've seen in practice as far as what works, it's translated into the game. And like Matt Meyer, we know that he's been rebounding the ball better. We know his defense has improved, and now people are seeing that. We knew about John's energy and efficiency. Sometimes, though, what happens is you work on something all summer long. You want to show everybody you've gotten better at it, and there's always a time and place to show what you've improved on. And normally that comes from again, making plays for others. So on offense, just taking what they give you, and then defensively, that really can lead to easy offense as well. And second half, we were much more efficient in transition in letting our defense create some easy ones for us on the offensive end.
Are there times when Myers makes you have maybe pop a Valium or something like that just to kind of?
Oh yeah, he definitely keeps you on the edge of your seat. That's for sure. But again, I think Matt's a really gifted player, and he can make plays that you can't coach. What we're trying to do as coaches is just making sure that he becomes more efficient, and with that, he has really done a better job in getting the ball to the paint, and he's a really good passer, and him showcasing more of that ability is also important for our team. So he can impact the game where in the past it was more just his shot. Now, I mean, his passing ability, his defense, and his rebounding, and those are the defense and rebounding. That's each and every night, and the passing's there. So hopefully he continues to grow off of that.
From a coaching sense, occasionally you're going to have teams where you need one or two guys to score that night, and if not, it's going to be trouble. This team is certainly not that, Scott. Does that make it easier knowing that, like, if you've got somebody who just cannot hit it that night, that you can rely on several other people?
Well, that's what makes for special teams is when you have multiple weapons, different people that can score 20. I mean, you go into a game and when you look at the other team, and if they only have one or two guys that can get 20, definitely you're not as concerned as if they have 4 or 5 or 6 guys that are capable. And that's the thing with our team. I mean, if the defense is there every night, the rebounding's there every night. And I mean, we had 24 to 7 second chance points against Illinois coming into the game, best rebounding team in the country. So that those staples have to stay there. And then the big key for us coaches and for the players is just taking the right shots, meaning as long as we're making plays for each other, having advantages, getting good looks. Some nights people are going to be off, but if they're taking the right shots, we're going to be in a better position to get those offensive rebounds. You saw that second half, especially where when we did miss, we got second chance points because they were better shots than we expected those shots to be taken at that time.
Well, and now, I mean, there's so much buildup for even before you played Illinois, the 5th-ranked team in the country, 2 against 5, now 1 against 2, and these games have been classic in college basketball history. How do you not hyperventilate for this game that doesn't tip off until Saturday? Is this team mature enough and experienced enough based on what they've been through already to understand what they do now builds towards what you do at tip on Saturday?
Most definitely, and I think that's where I mean, when you climb stairs, it's one step after the other, and I think you look at last year, really the success and the consistency in which these guys were able to handle success, to win 23 games in a row, and not let that get to our heads, and just stay focused and concentrating and doing what matters and what allowed us to be successful. I think that has always helped prepare things. And then, I mean, you got older guys now that this is their second, third year handling success, and it becomes easier over time. So as long as we stick to our core values, our fundamentals, and keep going 1-0 each and every day, we're going to be okay.
You played them a couple years ago in the NCAA tournament in Salt Lake City. There's obviously still some guys left over from that team. How much does that kind of motivate, especially the ones who were there for that game?
Oh, definitely. Teams that have beaten you in the past, you're motivated to play and see if you can do better. I mean, we have so much respect for the Gonzaga program. Obviously, Coach Jacobs being on staff there, Rim played there and been such a big piece to our program as a GA. And I mean, we're staying in the same hotel. We see them. We might actually get 2 or 3 games in before we play them on Saturday. So. There were a couple calls we didn't know what they were, and I said, Coach Jacobs, why don't you go ask Coach Few, make sure we got this accurate. So anyway, it's a great game. 1 versus 2. It doesn't happen often. And you guys are great in stats and analytics. I saw a tweet. I think the last regular season 1 versus 2 was 2008 or something. So you guys can look into that or see when that was. But I know anytime you get that in sports, it's great for the game, and I know there'll be a lot of interest. It'll be 2 great teams, and hopefully we're playing again against Gonzaga, but it's a couple months later in Indianapolis.
Yeah, and I know you got to go, but wasn't this just a matter of time for you guys to meet again? And the fact that I mentioned this to you in the post game, that you and Coach Few made this happen, because this could have been something that did not happen. The fact that it's being played, how much fun is it to be a part of it this week?
Well, again, credit Coach Few and I had the same scheduling philosophy. Whatever's good for the game and good for our players want to play against the best. They want to be in games where it's 1 versus 2. They want to challenge themselves and see just where they stack up. So, and the nation likes basketball fans want to see best teams competing against each other early in the year. So, credit Coach Few for wanting to do this, and our guys for having the opportunity. And the whole goal was both of us to come into it both 1 and 2, and because we knew in different polls we were both ranked 1 and 2, and we just had to be undefeated for this matchup. So again, it's a little surreal when you're staying in the same hotel and you see each other,
yeah.
and you know each other so well. So the next couple days, we'll get to know them even better and look forward to playing them. And again, hopefully for both of our teams, we get a chance to face again, too, a couple months from now. But I know we're excited to see where our team needs to get better, improve, and how we stack up against the best right now.
43rd all-time meeting, AP number 1 against 2. The previous 42 have been decided overall points by 1 single point. Number 1 has a 2-game edge in wins. Number 2 has an edge in points. That's how close these games have been over the years. Scott, we appreciate it. Paul, anything else for Coach Drew? Scott, thank you. Congratulations on the win against Illinois. And good luck on Saturday. We appreciate your time.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you very much.
Baylor head basketball coach Scott Drew, the number 2 or number 1, depends on which one you look at. And at the end of this weekend, we'll know a little bit more about 1 and 2, Baylor and Gonzaga Saturday afternoon. And this is Sic'Em365 Radio. Yeah, that's an amazing win for them last night. And, of course, Saturday, number 1 against number 2. They'll tip it off up in Indianapolis. Ashley Hodge was there for us. Jason King was there for us. We appreciated their coverage they had last night, plus the post game that we got up, all the players and Scott Drew as well. Coming up next, Fox Sports broadcaster Tim Brando at 5 o'clock, Barry Switzer. So much to get to today, and we've just started, thanks to Scott Drew for being a part of Sic'Em365 Radio. This is Sic'Em365 Radio. Bed covers, all models, free installation, additional rebates available on many covers at Pickup Outfitters at 220 Lake Air Drive. I kind of traded back and forth some, information with Jay Arrett, the owner of Pickup Outfitters. They're going to blow all this out through the rest of the weekend, through December the 5th. Through December the 5th, that's through Saturday. Bed covers, all models, free installation. $50 off toolboxes, $100 off the RK3 or WeatherGuard heavy-duty toolboxes. $50 off the grill guards, $75 off ranch hand grill guards, $300 off ranch hand front bumpers installed, and $150 off ranch hand rear bumpers installed. Spray-in bed liners with a lifetime warranty, $50 off. $150 off the AMP Research or Aries Action Track Power running boards. Wheels and tires, free mount and balancing. ARE fiberglass to truck caps, camper shells, $250 off. Step bars, they have some discounts as well. Custom fit floor liners. Buy front floor liners and get the rear floor liners for 30% off. All of this at Pickup Outfitters. This goes on through Saturday at 220 Lake Air Drive. Create a commotion.com.
When it comes to value and great customer service, you can count on us. Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat. As a Customer First Award of Excellence winner, our customers always receive exceptional service, and during the Big Finish event, you save thousands on every car, truck, and SUV. Plus, most vehicles feature 0% financing. The Big Finish event. Now at your friend in the car business, Alan Samuels.
Boots add protection. Good boots help you climb better and move forward faster. And when your son or daughter steps into the boots of a U.S. Army officer, they also learn how to lead. In these boots, they'll gain more confidence with expert training in one of more than 150 occupational specialties. In these boots, they'll stand a little taller and lead a team with diverse backgrounds and areas of expertise to successfully accomplish whatever challenge comes next. In these boots, they'll earn respect with valuable experience from day one that will give them solid footing for success into the future. Highly qualified candidates who earn a spot on our team can receive comprehensive health care coverage, college tuition assistance, and a bonus of up to $40,000. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
It's pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
Welcome back to Sic'Em 365 Radio.
The Sic'Em365 radio app is sponsored by Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
All right, we're tracking down Tim Brando, Fox Sports broadcaster, has the game coming up, Oklahoma-Baylor Saturday. Spencer Tillman also is a part of that. A local note on a American hero, Rayford Johnson, 1960 Olympic decathlon champion, died at the age of 86 in Los Angeles. He was the gold medal winner in the Rome Olympics in 1960. He also was one that helped subdue Robert F. Kennedy's assassination back in 1968. He was 86 years old, known as one of the world's greatest all-around athletes. And Rayford Johnson, who passed away at the age of 86, for those who don't know, was born in Hillsboro, Texas. And then his family moved out to California when he was, I think, 8 or 9 years old. He's a part of the Texas Sports Hall of Fame as well. We're now joined by Tim Brando. Fox Sports joins us. He has Oklahoma-Baylor Saturday. Spencer Tillman as well. And he joins us on Sic'Em365 Radio. Tim, thank you very much for your time. Have you been able to dig enough and kind of get an idea with what Baylor has dealt with and who they are and what they were in the second half compared to what they've been most of the year on offense?
You know, looking at them, and it's great to be with both of you. It is. It's just great to maybe have a football game to call on Saturday. Let's hope we get there. You know, after what happened to me last week in Boise, Idaho. Listen, I don't think there's really. It's tough to be a first-year coach anytime, but I think it's especially tough to be a first-year head coach this year. I mean, unprecedented times, and I think Aranda's team is rounding into shape, and I don't think they were very, very far off to begin with. I mean, you lost a lot of close games, and that can happen, particularly in a set of circumstances like the ones he faced this year. If you look at what's happened with your football team and how it's evolved, and particularly in the last game, you look at them on tape and you go, okay, I see a really good playmaker in Ebner, number one. I see a really good playmaker in R.J. Sneed, who's a real problem to match up with on the other side. And I see Gavin Holmes, and I'm saying, okay, all right, how are you guys going to defend these guys? And that would be true against a lot of different teams. Charlie Brewer is a very effective quarterback. I don't think Charlie is a great quarterback. I think he's a very good quarterback. I think he maximizes his talent. And this year, there have just been a set of circumstances, as would be the case in any transition year, that you've got some growing pains when there's staff turnover. And I think that's what's happened in this case. I really do. I mean, this is a 2-5 record team that leads the Big 12 and is ranked 12th in the nation in turnover margin. Okay, 14 takeaways, 9 interceptions, 5 fumble recoveries. You just haven't been able to finish some games. And I think that, if anything, most of us are trying to say, well, we just want to get to the finish line, get the season over. I think if we were to really get inside the head of Aranda, he would probably be saying, no, we want to keep playing for about another month and a half, because the best is yet to come.
For Oklahoma, they're COVID notwithstanding last week in West Virginia and anything that goes on this week, but they're a drastically different team than they were early in the season. Tim, what do you see as being the biggest difference? Is it Alex Grinch's defense that the light has finally come on?
I think the biggest thing is Ramondre Stevenson, 29, being on the field offensively. I think that's the biggest difference. Spencer Rattler is a far better quarterback when he knows he has the option to hand it off to number 29. We were there at Texas Tech when he and Perkins were made eligible, after serving that half-season suspension for testing positive for, funny cigarettes before the playoff last year. And not having those two guys, one on defense, one on offense. Now, Perkins, you really haven't noticed as much because Isaiah Thomas stepped in and became a stud at defensive end, number 95. So his impact maybe is not as noticeable as Stevenson's, but Ramondre is just, I mean, I watch him, and I remember saying it that night when we were calling the game with Texas Tech and Oklahoma. I don't think I've seen a back for Oklahoma that looks as dominant to me as, at this stage running the football as maybe Marcus Dupree did. And that's going way, way back, and I know I'm dating myself when I say that, but he's big, he's strong, and he's fast. He can get to the edge on a stretch play as fast as most, third down backs that come in that are scat backs. And he's made a huge difference in Rattler. And, the other thing, too, is remember this was an Oklahoma offense that had lost so much of its great receiving core. CeeDee Lamb at the top of that list. But, Marvin Mims has been a remarkable freshman, has helped him quite a bit. But I think getting Stevenson back was the big key. From a defensive standpoint, you got a three-man front situation with Grinch. I noticed this past week, Coach Stoops is out there. They've had some issues, I think, with coaches being available, so he stepped out. And my understanding is he will be there. He'll be on the sidelines for the game. He's an old 4-3 guy. I'll be really interested to see what kind of wrinkles we might see from the Stoops factor, coming into this game. That's one of the things Spencer and I were talking a little bit about coming into to the game. We just arrived a short time ago here in Norman.
Tim, I know that it's a long shot for the Big 12 and playoff hopes, given that their top two teams right now both already have a couple of losses. But what do you think of just where the Big 12 is sort of positioned right now? Iowa State at number 9, Oklahoma at number 11.
Well, I think the fact that Iowa State got into the top 10 is significant in the college football playoff standings. I thought that was very significant, and here's why. And you see this gerrymandering process that's taking place at other conferences right now. And we can get into that if you like with regard to the ACC. But, look, I think that it's, a lot of fans and a lot of pundits will tell you we can't unsee those two losses. Okay. Well, maybe you can't, but we do know who's playing at a very high level now, because college football is a game of evolution. Now, the evolution has been stunted in some places because they haven't been able to play as many games. But I applaud the Big 12. I mean, you remember the criticism the league took when they started playing games on September 5th?
Oh, yeah.
Or attempting to play games, and there were cancellations and postponements, one after another after another. I mean, Oklahoma State went a month without playing. But at the end of the year, we're going to see more games, more conference games played in the Big 12 than any other league. And so I think the committee is going to have to take a long look, particularly if either Iowa State or Oklahoma win out. Now, let's say Ohio State doesn't get to play either its game with Michigan next week or something happens before that. What if they play 5 games? Are they going to go back and make a determination at the Big Ten that they'll allow them to play in the Big Ten championship when they haven't met the criteria for getting there, the eligibility factor of 6 games? Who knows? But the committee has been steadfast that, they're going to look at them no matter how many games they play or if whether they play for the Big Ten championship or not. Well, to me, Ohio State's situation is precarious. And either Iowa State or Oklahoma, two of the hottest teams in the country right now, either one of these teams run the table, I think they can present a hell of a case. And that's one of the reasons, fellas, that's one of the reasons why I believe they decided in the ACC, let's just forego these games. We don't need Clemson to go play stinking Florida State. We don't need Notre Dame to play stinking Wake Forest. No, we're not going to. So that's why you saw that happen. And, the committee, I think, has to take a look at all of that. And I'm not going to rule it out. I mean, I'm really not. This year, to me, body of work should matter. And, yeah, those were bad. It was bad that those two teams lost, to non-conference opponents that were, the Louisiana Lafayette game was a hard one for, for Iowa State to deal with. But they had COVID issues when that game was being played. And if they could have very easily said, you know what, we really can't go. But they wanted to play. Matt Campbell wanted to play that game. They've had one other loss since that time, obviously. And it hurt them. I mean, I was on hand to watch it against Oklahoma State, a game they could have very easily won. But I think these are two of the hottest teams, and if they're on a collision course, and one of them wins out, whether it's Oklahoma or Iowa State, I think you could see them jettison up the standings in these next 3 weeks. I really believe that.
Yeah, it's interesting. In the Big Ten, you remember when they decided they're the ones that made the decision to start late with no mulligan weeks or any kind of buff. They also told Nebraska no, and I know that they're irrelevant in college football now, but when they wanted, okay, wait a minute, we want to play a non-conference game. They shot them down. But now, as Barry Alvarez said, they want to go, wait a minute, we may need to look at what we're doing here. How hypocritical is that?
Well, they should have listened to Barry to begin with. That's the sad part. I mean, Kevin Warren should have done that immediately. In this particular world in which we live, the COVID world in 2020, you reap what you sow. And, to me, the winners, the winning conferences here, the ones that are in the best shape, I mean, we can sit here and be critical of what the ACC decided to do. But what if you're looking at it solely from inside the bowels of the conference, okay? What did John Swofford really do? He went out and got Notre Dame as a one-off year member of the ACC, which did what? Gave his league a lot more credibility, and it gave Notre Dame a schedule. Without the deal with the ACC, Notre Dame wasn't going to be playing Stanford and USC back in September and October. That wasn't going to happen, all right? So if you look at that move and then this decision, and you can say, okay, well, is it ethical? I know this. It's in the best interest of those two teams. I mean, Clemson's in if they win in the ACC title. And if Notre Dame loses a competitive game, I'm going to say 70% chance Notre Dame's still in. So we can cry and whine all we want about what the ACC decided to do, but it might be a decision that really mitigated some issues for those two teams in that league, meaning the commissioner did a hell of a job for his conference. Now, you take that and you look at the Big Ten. If they don't allow Ohio State to be eligible with fewer than 6 wins, who does that hurt besides Ohio State? It hurts the Big Ten.
Yeah, absolutely.
It hurts the Big Ten. So the Big Ten and the Pac-12 are the two leagues that are in the worst shape. And guess what? They made horrible decisions back in the summer. They did. And they're paying a price for it. So I applaud the Big 12 as an outlier, waiting to see all this transpire. And I thought it was really smart and shrewd of Bob Bowlesby to sit back and go, Notre Dame's going to join the ACC, huh, for this year. You know what? I think we'll play. Let's go ahead. Let's start this baby up. Let's play as early as we can, give ourselves as much wiggle room as possible. And you know what? At the end of the year, and I fully believe we will get there, you're going to be seeing Big 12 teams, not all, but most, with 11 games on their plate. And no other league's going to be able to say that. So good for them. And as for the SEC, they're going to say whatever they want to say because they are in a public relations battle with the ACC. And they have a similar situation with Florida and Alabama, potentially, as the ACC does with Notre Dame and Clemson. So it's just it's college football at its best and worst, that we have to deal with on a weekly basis, and this year on a daily basis.
Tim, do you think that some of the consternation that people have over conferences, gerrymandering, as you said, is just they're mad that they didn't think of it first? Probably, yeah.
But I think for me, it underscores, and you guys, I'm sure, have kept up with my soliloquies through the years as it relates to what college football needs to do to save itself. it really does underscore the need for universal leadership. I mean, one thing about COVID is it's really exposed the wounds of how selfish and individually minded this cartel known as the college football playoff really is. It's every man in every league for himself. You know, the leaders of the conferences, they can talk all they want about what's in the best interest of the game. They are paid for what's the best interest of their constituency, and their constituency only, and their actions prove it every stinking year. And especially this year, we need a czar for this sport. We need the same number of conference games to be played by every conference. We need issues that are off the field to be relegated in a similar way, no matter what league we're talking about. I'm not trying to strip power of the conference commissioners. I think they have every right to run their leagues as they see fit, but we need universal rule in terms of the major factors that college football deals with. Otherwise, the sport is never going to be able to grow. It's never going to get outside its own base. And this year, more than any other, with schools losing somewhere between, $30 to $70 million because of, the lost gate receipts to go along with the television issues they've had, we need expansion to create greater inventory. Inventory creates more revenue, and we also need universal leadership. The people that are in governance right now, the 5 commissioners of the power leagues and the 5 group of 5s, I think they need to be involved as well. They need to get together and have a summit and come up with some absolute infrastructure changes that will be massive to make sure that college football doesn't, as we know it, die on a vine in the not-too-distant future. Many, many people, even college football people that love the game, have seen all these issues come to the forefront in a manner in which in prior years I could talk about it, but people didn't know what I was talking about. Now it's there for everybody to see. All the things I've been talking about, it's there for everybody to see. And we need a czar, flat out. And we don't need the NCAA's participation in college football either. All right? Work that out. If you want the NCAA to be involved with basketball and you want to hold on to some of that money, find a way to do it. But college football is hurt by the NCAA, not helped. The NCAA has had more than enough chances to step up and lead, and Mark Emmert doesn't know how. In fact, he'll go out of his way to hurt the game more than help the game.
Preach, Brother Brando.
Yeah, no kidding, man. Let that sit there for a second. Absolutely. Tim, one of the big things that's going to occur here pretty soon, not only National Signing Day, but also we'll have, the offseason coaching carousel. I was just curious your thoughts, given a lot of the rumors swirling around about, Tom Herman at Texas and his future or potential lack thereof. What do you think of all the rumors and, obviously the Urban Meyer talk as well?
Well, the notion that you're going to be paying $15 to $16 to $17 million, in buyout money anywhere is just insane. Okay, especially this year. You talk about a bad look. As I mentioned, all of the revenue losses this year, and you're going to let people on Twitter make decisions for you. That's crazy. No, don't go there. As for Texas. Did Tom Herman just suddenly get to Austin and lose all of his consciousness about coaching? He fell off a turnip truck suddenly, the hottest commodity in college football just a few years ago. I mean, he worked for Urban Meyer, did he not?
Yeah. Chris
Ash, also the defensive coordinator, he worked for Urban Meyer, did he not?
Mm-hmm.
Now all of a sudden they want to run these guys out on a rail. Why? Because they now have a president there that thinks he knows something about football. Urban Meyer, in my opinion, just my opinion, okay, I haven't talked to Urban. We work at the same network, but I've not talked to him specifically about it. I think he would be off his rocker to go to Texas. Off his rocker to go there. There are too many layers of bureaucracy. Urban, much like Nick Saban, is a control freak, and that's what made him successful. It's also what made him sick. He worked himself into a frenzy, and he got ill. And I'm going to tell you, at Texas, with the layers of leadership and the god-awful amount of donors that you have to deal with and glad at on a regular basis, you think he wants any of that? And look, Del Conte's a great AD, and I'm sure Chris, if he has an opportunity to sell Texas to Urban, would do a marvelous job. But let me tell you, the skeletons in that closet are way too immense for Urban Meyer to take that job, in my opinion.
Tim, as always, thank you. You're always gracious to come on with us. Baylor in Oklahoma Saturday night, 7 o'clock on Fox. You and Spencer. Spencer's joining us tomorrow. You guys have a great, safe weekend and hopefully a game, and everything should be fine. And thanks for your time.
Stay positive, test negative. That's my mantra.
That's going to run for president with that. Yeah. Stay positive, test negative. Tim Brando, Fox Sports with us. Spencer Tillman tomorrow at 4:30. Gabe Eichhardt, who played at Oklahoma, does talk radio up in the Oklahoma area, Oklahoma City area. He'll be a part of it. Barry Switzer today at 5. High school Pick'em at 4. But coming up next, oh boy, Jennifer Smoke, Fantasy Football League expert. We've got some explaining to do next on Sic'Em365 Radio. Pioneer Still and Pipe, locations in Waco and Bryan. Open Saturdays if you can't get there during the week between 8 a.m. and noon. Pioneer Still and Pipe, where they have big, huge, heavy product that you build things with. Steel, pipe, and metal, and much more. Metal buildings, absolutely. That's your go-to for not only the product, but also the project and how it's built, and advice. And they will also help you understand the bid process, being in case you have someone who bids a little bit lower and you're like, that's good, it's less, but there might be a reason behind it. They'll help you with that even if you don't take or buy from them. They've done this since 1943. You cannot stay in business for 77 plus years. You cannot do that unless you have two things: great product and great customer service. Family owned and operated, been that way for 77 years, and they're getting bigger, better, faster, stronger, and that's even more impressive in this time. It's Pioneer Still and Pipe, the Pioneer Boys at pioneerboys.com.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance in McLennan County takes pride in backing Central Texas football. Our agents would like to help with your insurance needs. Call 254-772-8090 for an agent near you.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries, celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas. Our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trust the doctors at Baylor trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
The Sic'Em365 radio text line is sponsored by Riverbend Liquor and Wine, with the most extensive variety of craft beer in Waco. A hidden gem on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street.
It's an emergency situation for Jennifer Smoke and her team. Pick up your cup or whatever it is. Her team.
Tuck it in your cup.
Tuck it in your cup. She is coming off a devastating loss and is now no longer in control of her own destiny when it comes to making the playoffs because there's some mean women. Persia, Tara with a T, Kara with a K, and Alex have hunted her down. And she joins us now on Sic'Em365 Radio. Is that about as well as I could perhaps paint the picture for your team?
Yeah, basically. I mean, I'm still in the hunt. It's not over yet. Some things have to happen, but yeah, that's a good summary of what's going on.
Okay. Will Fuller he's gone, right, Paul?
Yeah. And he had a great week. At least he went out with a bang for you last week, Jennifer. But Josh Jacobs kind of getting banged up a little bit in that game against the Falcons hurt you tremendously. Cooper Kupp was
Yeah, you need to change the name of your team. He doesn't have any worthy of using his name unless it's...
no kidding.
Yeah.
No, I mean, of course, the week before this last week, he had a great game, and I knew the minute that he had a great game, he would be a dud this week. And I know he's that one wide receiver. He keeps like doing good one week and then off the next week. But I knew the first sign that I knew things weren't going to go my way. Well, I first got excited on Thanksgiving because Fuller played, as you know, and he went off. He had 2 touchdowns and 6 receptions for 171 yards. He got me 39.1 points. So that's how my week started. I was so excited. I was like, this is exactly what I needed to start. And then here comes the Cowboy-Redskin game. And this running back, Antonio Gibson, decides to get 3 touchdowns and 115 rushing yards. And, of course, Alex has him on her team. And so he ends up getting 38.6 points and completely crushes my excitement. And then we're basically back at square one. So I knew the minute that happened, I could already tell things weren't going to go my way last week.
Yeah, Jennifer, I think you need to get David Montgomery in your lineup this week.
Chicago's terrible.
Yeah, well, they're playing Detroit, and he had a really good week last week.
Okay,
and so Detroit's bad. Well, you've got Galladay, and you got that flex position. I would maybe bump up Jefferson into your wide receiver and then put him in the flex, or Claypool. I mean, you got a nice choice, either Claypool or Montgomery. I would probably maybe lean just because of the matchup with Montgomery in Detroit this week because he played really well. So
I know, but I did have him on my bench last week and he played good, but it's just my only worry about putting a running back in that flex position is just that I always feel like I can rely more on a receiver to bring in the points for me, and it's like a risky move on a week that I have to win, So it's like that's what I'm struggling with because right now I do have Galladay in. He's still listed as questionable, and I do need to still decide Galladay, Kupp, Jefferson, or Claypool, but I guess you're saying I need to put Montgomery in as the flex position?
Yeah, well, I don't think Galladay is going to play. I mean, he hasn't practiced, so I don't think he's going to play. I think he's still probably a couple weeks away, and he may not even wind up playing the rest of the year. That injury may be worse than they think. So Jefferson needs to stay in. He's been fantastic, even with Thielen coming back. But Montgomery, he had a good week last week.
We're talking too much about Montgomery. They're on a terrible team.
Yeah, but he's playing a terrible team.
Okay.
But you wouldn't put, okay, if we're going to take Galladay out, put Jefferson in as my number 2 wide receiver, but then you wouldn't put, Claypool didn't have a great game yesterday, so I feel like, potential for him to do more this upcoming week and put him in the flex position. I just feel like I have more faith in him because I'm not as, familiar with Montgomery since I just picked him up last week. But to be honest, this win is so important. Nobody on my fantasy ever complained about the fact that I had picked up Taysom Hill that one week. And Paul, correct me if I'm wrong, but I know that they changed him to a quarterback. But technically, and I'm not going to do this, but I'm tempted to put him back in my tight end position just so I can count on those points.
Well, I don't think you can. I don't think you can. I don't think you can anymore. They corrected that issue. So
Okay, because I thought that, that you could still technically play him in the tight end position. There was really nothing that they could do about it. But, okay, I guess you can't do that anymore. And I'm not really going to do that. I'm kidding. But I am tempted to text Casey because that's who I'm playing this week. And there's no chance that she's on an 8-game winning streak, by the way. And, Dad, I was talking to you about that earlier. And so, I mean, obviously, I'm like, okay, she's clearly due for a win. But, I might just text her and kiss up to her a little bit and remind her how good of friends we are and just remind her that she really doesn't have a chance to get into the playoffs. And if she just wants to kind of mess her lineup for me so that I can get that win, that would probably be helpful.
You know what?
Do you want to be known as someone who wins that way?
Yeah, no, but absolutely. You want to get here's how you distract her. You distract her.
Is Urban Meyer on the line with us right now? Win at all costs?
Yeah. By the way, you said 8-game win streak. She's got an 8-game losing streak.
Sorry. That's what I meant.
Is her father still the head coach at Post?
No.
Okay.
No,
well, they're 13-0. Just talk to her about Post against Cisco, the high school football game coming up. Get her distracted and then kiss up to her a little bit. Absolutely. You do whatever you can to get yourself. So what can we do? And who is this? Let's see. Tara, you need Kara with a K to lose to Tara with a T, correct?
Yes, because and I don't think her dad's still the head coach at Post. But anyways, okay, so Persia's still far in first. Tara is in second, but Kara and Alex are tied for third now, and I dropped to fourth, and I'm tied with Macy. So what I have to have happen is it doesn't really matter what anybody else does. Nothing else will matter unless Kara with a K loses to Tara with a T. Because if Kara loses, but also I have to win. So I have to win and Kara has to lose. That has to happen no matter what. And if Kara loses, then her and I would be back to even. And my points for the year so far are ahead of her. Or higher than her. So if I still get a good amount of points, more points than her, then I'll make it in. So that it's just extremely important that she loses. So I'm also going to text Tara, and I'm going to keep an eye on what she does with her team, and I'm going to text her with any tips I think she needs to change out to make sure her team is completely solid this week. Okay. Is that cheating or no?
No. You do.
I mean,
you know what?
It's very shady. It's
super shady.
I don't know. I mean, if you can look yourself in the mirror and say, I did it the right way, then fine, do what you want to do, Jen. I mean, but.
No, I'm really just being sarcastic. I'm making a joke. But, if I really wanted to win, that'd be the.
I got it now.
That would be the route that I would take. But I would feel too guilty.
If, in fact, it allows Oreo to have a peaceful Sunday and you need to help somebody have a bad team so you can win and then help somebody else win against the team you need to lose, then, for the sake of Oreo, you do this.
Well, by the way, I got to experience on Thanksgiving what a Sunday is normally like at the Jennifer and Daniel household.
Was it? I mean, were you okay?
I was okay. Oreo,
have you recovered
not so much.
from it?
Yeah,
Oreo goes in the corner, starts quivering.
I knew going in that I only had to deal with it for a few hours, and the poor dog has to deal with it almost every day
Thursday,
of the week now.
Sunday, Monday,
Wednesday in the middle of the day.
Wednesday at 2 o'clock.
No, Craig would look at me. He just kind of look up real slowly out of the corner of his eye every time Antonio gives him a cross and get a touchdown, and he just kind of look at me, and I'd be like, oh. Yeah. But yeah, he definitely saw the hard parts of fantasy last week.
I don't know if you're in charge of your team or not. I know you're the head coach, but I'm not sure you're the general manager. But whoever your defensive coordinator is needs to be fired because you give up a lot of points every week. Every week, if this was a football team, you would fire that person because a lot of people score a lot of points on you.
I know, but I have no control over that, Dad. That's the bad luck that I have is that every single time I play someone, they've got 2 or 3 players that go off. I mean, of course I have to play Alex when she's got New Orleans defense in and Denver doesn't even have a quarterback. I mean, of course they're going to do good, It's just hilarious to me. And then again, Antonio Gibson, it's like, really, you're going to have 3 touchdowns? So anyways, and back to Fuller, do these guys at this point in their career not realize what they're supposed to be taking and not taking? I mean, is it that difficult to figure out? Like, if you get a new supplement, call the NFL and ask if it's okay. Like, he just completely could have screwed the rest of my season.
Yeah.
But, what do I know? What do I know?
All right.
So, anyway.
I feel he was inconsiderate from the start, not only with the Texans, but with you.
Yeah, I know.
And fellow Will Fuller and fantasy owners.
And y'all don't think it's shady that the cornerback is out too this week? I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's more to this story because, I mean, these guys have to know what they're supposed to take and not take, right? I mean, I don't know.
Back to Antonio Gibson, and then we have to let you go. He scored 3 touchdowns. Are you telling me you were disappointed that Antonio Gibson, for the Washington football team club franchise, you were rooting against them scoring?
No, Dad. I was rooting against anybody but – I mean, I was rooting for anybody to score but Antonio Gibson. Okay. I mean, especially, it's like, but Dad, I'm kind of tired of talking about him because he just ruined my week last week. But I mean, McLaurin, all these other stars they have, like nobody else wanted to score besides Antonio Gibson.
Yeah, I know McLaurin.
No, he's good. He's really good.
By the way, Texas Tech football coach just tested positive for COVID, Matt Wells. So
that's probably beneficial for Texan because
hey, you're just thinking what every other Tech fan's thinking now.
I know.
Yeah, no, I'm just gonna keep it real. But yeah, he probably needs a week to be sick, and let's see what someone else can do with the team. But anyways, again, what do I know?
All right. Okay. All right. Well,
all right. I love you guys.
I can't imagine the cat fights if you don't make the playoffs. There will be some hell to pay.
She's the commissioner, right?
Yeah.
So now she has to oversee.
She needs to do what the Big Ten did and change the rules now, like in the middle of the like midstream.
There's some girls I'm not allowing back next year. I mean, like Alex and Tara should be privileged that I allowed them to be a part of this league, and now they're trying to beat me. So it's like I'm gonna have to reevaluate some of my friendships after this year of fantasy. Just kidding, but all right. I'll hopefully I will be on next week with a win. Yeah, good luck. We want to continue this segment. This is a big weekend for Jennifer Smoke and her team. All right, so coming up next, high school football pick'em. China Spring, how about the run they're on again in the quarterfinals against 7-time state champion Carthage? They almost had Carthage. They had Carthage in 2016 at the Star in Frisco, and they just couldn't finish it. They had a chance to kick a field goal. They missed it, and they ended up losing like in 4 overtimes. They're playing Friday night in Midlothian. By the way, I'm not an avid SportsCenter watcher these days, and so nor am I somebody who seeks out a lot of videos. So I finally saw that Alabama State title game they were talking about. That was unbelievable. If you have not seen it, Google or get on Twitter. An Alabama high school state championship, a 7-time champion, was down by 9? Yeah. With 30-something seconds left. I think it was even less than that. And Armstrong, did you watch at the end of that? Oh, Jack did. They were down by 9 with 30-something seconds left, and they went to punt, the team that's winning, and he took forever to punt it, got it blocked. They ran it back for a touchdown. Then they recovered the onside kick. Yeah, no, they blocked the punt, and it was the laziest punt you've ever seen. And even after it's blocked, the punter's just standing there oh, whatever. I don't know what that kid was doing. I don't know what he was thinking, but I hate it for him. Yeah, I do, but show some effort. Yeah. So he gets it blocked. They run it back. So then they're within 2. They have to get the onside kick because there's only in the teens of seconds left at that point. Get the onside kick, 2 pass interference penalties, and then a game-winning field goal to win the state championship. And a pretty good old boot for a high school game, too. The line drive shot, but it got there, and it was all on Alabama's field, too, so that's even cooler. But, an incredible finish to one of those Alabama title games. Armstrong, I'm going to send you the link to that. Maybe we could put that up. We have the rights to that? I don't know. We'll see if we can do that. Coming up next, high school football pick'em. It got tight over the weekend. Wow. Scott Surratt of Carthage on China Spring and his program, 7 state titles in 12 years at 4:15. Mickey at 4:30. And then also Midway's Jeff Hume as they finish out the year this week against Cedar Hill at 4:45. Barry Switzer and S11. Sam Bradshaw, Sic'Em365 Radio. Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac. The summer savings event was a success. Fall, a success, and now here we are in the winter time. Winter has arrived, and it's the holiday sales event that can be a success for you in trying to grab a new car for yourself or perhaps for a loved one around Christmas time. The most wonderful time of year to save big on all remaining 2020 vehicles in stock, plus on incoming 2021 GMC Sierras. Sierras are a truck with it all.
It's got unbeatable technology. It's got first-class seating and a lot of power. It's the best truck on the road, and during Richard Carr's holiday savings event, qualified buyers can unwrap $8,000 off a 2021 GMC Sierra Tex Edition Crew Cab at Richard Carr. The 2020 Buick Encores, SUVs with loads of space and style. Right now, they're going for only $18,950. That's a savings of over $5,000 on the top-selling Buick Encore. You can also save on some top-of-the-line midsize SUVs. $7,000 off currently on GMC Terrain. $7,500 off of Buick Envisions. You can test drive both today and save big today at Richard Carr. And the ultimate gift this Christmas is a Cadillac. Save $3,000 right now and get 0% financing for 72 months on most Cadillacs in stock, including the XT4, XT5, and the XT6. At Richard Carr, they love their healthcare workers. They love great deals as well, but they also love their military and first responders along with the healthcare workers. And so right now, all of those valuable community heroes are getting GM supplier pricing on all vehicles in stock. And for every car or truck sold right now, Richard Carr will donate a new bike to Toys for Tots Waco, so you get yourself a great deal, a new car, and you give a deserving kid a bike this Christmas. It's a holiday sales event at Richard Carr. Get there now. Go to richardcarr.com or have them bring the test drive to you. Save big. The holiday sales event at Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
How can we help you? That's a question we ask every day at American Bank. Hi, I'm President and CEO Dana Hassel. Our commitment to our customers is what drives us. It's why we've invested in new branch buildings and technology like ITMs that let you speak to a teller face-to-face from your car. It's why we work with local businesses, helping Waco grow and thrive. And it's why decisions about your accounts and loans are made here in Waco by people who know you. How can we help you? Find out at American Bank, member FDIC.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like First Free Checking, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Bird Culchin Ford has been in Waco since 1936. Ford, the #1 selling truck in Texas, 43 years running. And Bird Culchin Ford proudly supports high school football in Central Texas. And no better way to tailgate with a Ford than from Bird Culchin Ford. And are there better vehicles to tailgate with than the Ford F-150 or the Ford Expedition? And of course, you can get them new pre-owned Bird Culchin Ford. Our sponsor of the Ford Tough Player of the Week, locally owned dealership. Online at bkford.com at 1701 West Loop 340 in Waco. Bird Culchin Ford.
It's the heat of the summer, but the real heat is what you're cooking on the grill, smoker, or in the oven. So Waco Custom Marketplace can be your go-to playmaker for summertime grilling. You can't go eat anywhere else? Be your own chef with custom-ordered and cut ribeyes, sirloins, fillets, New York strips with a focus on high-quality beef at a competitive price. Waco Custom Marketplace also has fresh deli cuts with sliced turkey, ham, pepperoni, or corned beef. Waco Custom Marketplace also your home for the freshest seafood in town. Salmon, shrimp, mahi-mahi, great priced chicken products, whole birds, tenders, chicken breast, and wings. Waco Custom Marketplace with smoked items unique to Waco, house-made bacon, summer sausage, boudin, hot links, and German sausage. Every seasoning for every occasion, grilling, baking, or frying. Your hometown grocery store with canned goods, pasta, fresh baked bread, buns, chips, sauce, condiments to pickles, charcoal and lighter fluid, cold beer and wine, best kolaches in Waco, mouth-watering cinnamon rolls, and here for the community every single day, helping you avoid the long lines in crowded stores, serving quality products to the Waco community. Go online for the weekly value boxes. Family owned and operated Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recalled drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com, principal office in Houston, Texas.
Welcome back to Sic'Em365 Radio.
Good play by Meyer. And another turnover. Mitchell ahead to Teague for the lay-in.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house.
Now here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
Give you a couple of notes as far as some college notes, high school football notes in Central Texas, and then Pick'em. Kendrick James, the former tight end at La Vega, went to Alabama, transferred to SMU, never really played much for them. Apparently is in the transfer portal again.
Really?
Uh-huh. C.J. Lanehart, he's been a part of our Player of the Week polls, ballots, whatever, throughout the time. Even last year, a young man at Parkview Christian Academy. That's a 6-man private school. Josh Hayes, Paul, you know Josh, and he's become a pretty good little football coach for them. Craig showed me the note. C.J. Lanehart, private school, 6-man football team, got a preferred walk-on offer today from Baylor. And the story there is that Josh Hayes and David Wetzel have stayed in touch. Wetzel then got Dave Aranda to watch the film. This morning, Sean Bell called CJ and offered him a preferred walk-on opportunity.
Good deal for him.
Pretty good deal for him. Also, Mackenzie Milton at Central Florida. He's going to enter the transfer portal. He had that horrible knee injury, of course, and now is looking for somewhere else to play. I thought he was like out of eligibility, but I guess this is a free year, so he doesn't.
Yeah, no, that's interesting, especially with the long road he came back from to play again. You know, it's thought that his career was over, and then it was a feel-good story, and then reality hits, and you get passed over, or you don't play as well, and you know somebody else is waiting their turn. And I don't know. I'm sure part of that's a product of Kendrick James moving around. I think SMU was potentially a really good spot for him, and so I don't know what's going on there, but I don't think it's good when you're 4 years in or 5 years in your college career and you're on your third school. I don't know that usually works all that well, but it's kind of my thoughts on those two. And obviously, a Parkview Christian guy getting a Baylor offer, potentially a preferred walk-on, as you mentioned, is what it is. I think that's really cool, and there's some hidden gems to be found at the lower levels, but you got to look for them.
Always reminds me of 6-man's Jack Pardee, who played with A&M. Is that right? Played at A&M, and then eventually was a heck of a player in the NFL and a coach as well. Okay, here we go with Pick'em. Craig Smoke. Pulled to within 2.
Nipping at your heels.
I mean, there were 4 games that were ending, I think it was sometime Saturday. All 4 games, they were at the time, it was like I was going to get 2 and you were going to get 2. The next thing you know, it just all flipped. All 4. It's kind of like the presidential election.
Is it better or worse that if you do finally get defeated, that you had a hand in making the thing that will defeat you?
Yeah, that'll help. It'll keep the blood.
Like Darth Vader.
All right, here we go. Scott Surratt from Carthage will join us in the next segment.
I'll be Luke.
Parker Heights at Belton.
Heights.
I'm going Heights.
I will too. The winner is in. You know what? The loser of that game's out.
Although this is District 12 6A involving clean schools, so who the heck knows?
Good knows. University at Cleburne, Craig.
Cleburne.
Yeah, Cleburne.
Cleburne.
Frisco Lone Star. Mims, the wide receiver from Oklahoma, they were really dynamic last year. They're still good. They had a rugged start, but playing Ryan, and I'll take Denton Ryan.
I'll take Ryan.
Yeah, I have a hard time ever picking against Denton Ryan.
All right, Paul Lubbock, Coronado against Amarillo, Tascosa.
I'll take Tascosa.
All right.
I'm going to take Coronado.
I will too. This is a team, this is 2 of these teams. Winner will be in the semifinals in 4A Division I. Corpus Christi Miller with I forgot his last name. He's a quarterback that's gone nuts.
Jesse the Body Ventura.
Yeah, against Austin LBJ. First time they've been deep. They were good back in the day. I'd say 20 years ago or so. Been a long time. They beat La Vega, a couple of years ago or so. And Corpus Christi Miller's averaging about 70 a game, and so is LBJ as far as playing great defense. Craig, it's your pick.
I'm going to ride with the hot hand in Corpus Christi Miller.
Me too.
Yeah, I'll go with Miller.
4 losses. Lindale at Kilgore. Jordan Jenkins, the running back at Lindale, continues to put up huge numbers. They beat Kilgore, I think, like 47-40 the first meeting or something like that. I'll stick with Lindale.
I'm going to take the Baylor running back commit. My sister, who we just heard from, and her boyfriend, Daniel, were at that Chapel Hill-Lindale game last week, and they had positive reviews for Jenkins and Lindale overall. So I'll stick with the Eagles.
Jennifer Smoke now a scout, too.
Hey, Grayson Grunhafer told me last night he thinks Lindale's going all the way. So.
All right.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
wow.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll take Lindale.
That would be gigantic for that town, I'll tell you what.
It would be. It's as deep as they've ever been in football. Carthage and China Spring.
This is me.
2016, we did the game, and it was as close as China Spring could ever get without winning a game, and lost the game. The Keontae Ingram and company. It is you.
We've now done that twice with China Spring games.
Yeah.
With the Connolly game that we did. Because that is exactly what happened there. I got to still pick Carthage. I mean, I know China Spring's the hot hand, and I'm sure it's going to be a slobber knocker, but I got to go Carthage.
Craig?
I should have stuck with China Spring last week, but I feel good about not sticking with them this week. I'm going to go Carthage.
Carthage has not seen the kind of offense that China Spring runs, but Carthage's defense is really, really special. We'll see. Major Bowden could create a few problems there, and believe me, you'll hear from that with Scott Surratt next. Columbus and Hallettsville. Craig?
Go Hallettsville.
They got their young man Brooks, who scored 8 touchdowns, a Texas commit.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Hallettsville.
Mount Vernon and Malakoff. It's been a good run. Hallettsville.
Oh, okay.
Mount Vernon and Malakoff. It's been a good run for Coach Briles in Mount Vernon. I'm going to take Malakoff in this game, and I think they end it all right here. They were so good. Saw them beat Grandview. I'll take Malakoff.
I'll take Malakoff.
I'll take Malakoff.
All right, now we go to Childress and Canadian. Paul.
Canadian.
Craig.
Canadian.
I don't think we have many changes here at all. Eastland and Gunter. Craig.
Gunter.
Okay. Franklin and Buffalo. You've got a rematch in a game that Franklin won big in the opening game, but boy, Buffalo's been throwing the ball around with Brett Hoffman. I'm still going to take Franklin.
Yeah, I'm going to take Franklin too.
I'll take Franklin.
Bosqueville and Crawford is another rematch. Bosqueville lost 27-20 to Crawford in the first meeting, and that game was going down to the wire.
I'm taking Crawford.
I'll take Crawford.
Yeah, I'd take Crawford.
Here's one I think will have some changes. Shiner and Refugio, and this is a collision course.
I'll take Shiner.
I'll take Shiner.
I'm going to take Refugio.
And that's typically what the smart play is.
This is a crazy stat with him. I know we're up against the clock here. Refugio last year beat Shiner 45-43. 2018, they beat Shiner 56-41. 2017, they shut them out twice, which was, I don't know what happened there. Of course, Refugio's been winning state championships too. 2014, Refugio beat Shiner. 2015, Shiner beat Refugio, but then lost in the playoffs. These two teams you cannot separate them with all the common denominators teams. I got the schedules here. I'm going to take Refugio. I like Shiner. They beat my alma mater one time in the semis, I think it was. I want Shiner, but I'm going to take Refugio. Mart and Tenaha. Paul.
Mart.
Cristobal and Falls City. Craig.
Cristobal.
Yeah, I don't know much about them. I thought they were a 6-man school.
I did too.
I'm not so sure that's not Jack Pardee's alma mater.
No, he's from...
All right, Paul, who do you have?
I'll take Cristobal.
Okay. Blum and May. Blum, of course, with the big win against Union Hill last week.
Whose turn?
It is mine. I'll take May.
I'm going to take Blum.
Okay.
Blum.
It's a good pick.
Yeah, Cristobal. Yeah, that's where he's from. Yeah, you're right.
You tried to question me on a high school football note. Richland Springs and Strawn. Paul.
Strawn.
I'll take Richland Springs.
You know what? I didn't last week. I had some great insight, and then I didn't get the best insight that players were suspended. I'm going to take Richland Springs. Go Strawn. Riker and First Baptist Academy. Craig.
You know what? Well, we've had fun doing the Riker games. 2 or 3 of them now at this point, too. We'll do 3 on Saturday, and I think we're going to see our 3rd win. I'm going to go with Riker here.
I'll take Riker. They won the first one 48-28, but they're going to need FBA, First Baptist Academy, to turn it over again, and they'll see if that happens.
Yeah, I'll go Riker.
All right, Live Oak and Dallas Lake Hill. I'll take Live Oak.
Live Oak.
Live Oak.
Okay, there we go. We have a couple of games. That Shiner game with Refugio. Paul, I'm stunned you took the beer.
Yeah, I'm surprised I went against Refugio in the playoffs as well. But, this is as evenly matched as you mentioned.
Yeah.
So if you were going to pick somebody to beat Refugio, it might as well be Shiner.
You and I just have one different game, right? Is that right?
Blum and May.
Blum, that's right. Blum and May was a defending state champion, but Blum's been in that position quite a bit. All right. I mentioned that China Spring and and Carthage. We had Brian Bell on earlier. I get a chance to talk with him every Monday morning, and it's been a lot of fun to hear a lot of what he's had to say. It's been a great run for them. Carthage, we know what their history is, 7 state titles. They've played 11 games this year. They have given up just 70-something points. Their defense has been very good. A quarterback in Kai Horton. China Spring should have beaten them in 16 because Keontae Ingram fumbled 4 times in that game. Yeah. But Carthage found a way. It was a classic. Here's my conversation. Scott Surratt has turned Carthage into the biggest monster in high school football in the state of Texas.
Carthage head football coach Scott Surratt, 7-time state champion, and of course has run Class 4A for the most part for almost well over a decade, joins us on Sic'Em365 radio. So when you saw the bracket come out in Division II, which is that you're a part of that, and China Spring was Division I last year as well. You met them in the semifinals in 2016. Did you think there's a chance you would see them in the quarterfinals?
Yeah, we really did. We know how good a program they have in China Spring, and we know how good a job Coach Bell and his staff does. So we knew it was a possibility. We thought it'd be those guys, especially when the playoffs started. We thought it would probably be those guys or West Orange.
You've had to deal with, as many teams have, Scott, the ups and downs, the touch and go, the ups. You don't have a game, you do have a game, looking for a game. How much of a challenge has it been? And the fact that you're here in the quarterfinals where a lot of people expected you, despite all the things you've had to deal with.
It's really tough early, honestly, Smokey. When the classification came out and they split 6A, 5A, when they started those guys later, and we lost our first 3 games. And we got very fortunate to pick Kilgore up on a Friday, I believe. And then we didn't play for a whole month and played Gilmer. So that was really challenging at the time, but I think it made us better. We had a lot of holes. We got to practice more because we missed all spring pretty much of, doing what we're going to do, football drills and things. So we thought we got better at that time, and we were a lot better football team when we played Gilmer than when we played the first week against Kilgore. And then we had the first round was we were excited to play Gatesville and get ready for the playoffs. And then, you call on Tuesday, and then had to cancel that because of the virus. And so that was pretty challenging, telling the seniors, you don't have to play. And then it's a challenge for these seniors. They don't have a lot of stats just because we hadn't had a lot of games. And the games we have, we pulled the seniors a lot of times at half. And so that's, we've had to keep those guys motivated. But I think it's been pretty smooth here lately, knock on wood.
You're always known for what you can do with your firepower. You can run what you do on offense, whether it's the spread or the eye, you can pound the ball. You've always been able to use tight end. You've got all of that in your mix offensively, but it seems like this year the separation has been your defense. You have 7 games, including the forfeit, where you've allowed 7 points or less. 74 games in 11, 74 points in 11 games. Is this a different level of defense you have?
I hope so. I think so. I know they're really good. We go against them every day, 1-on-1s, and they're really good, and we have a great battle. And probably I would say half of those points maybe probably gone against our 2s and 2 or 3s, second or third string. And so I think we're a special defense, and China Spring presents us with different problems with making you defend from A-gap all the way down the sideline on both sides. And So, with the option and things, so they got a good quarterback, good tailback. So it's going to be different this week.
Abdallah, obviously very good, the running back, but is it Bowden, in your opinion, that really has separated them in a way this year because he's so elusive and he can throw the ball just well enough?
There's no question. The quarterback makes them go. The tailback, no disrespect to him, he is very, very good. And but the quarterback, it's all read game and option game, and he's great. You got two great tailbacks basically back there, but number two also can throw the ball. So they're very dangerous offensively, and so it's going to be a good matchup with our defense.
I mentioned this earlier. Scott Surratt, head coach at Carthage, 7-time state champion, 3 of the last 4 years, defending champions. You had 3 in a row. When you hear that, you've had such amazing success. We have Barry Switzer coming on later today at 5, and I said, by the way, we got Scott coming on. Maybe he said, well, I'm sure he's going to win another state championship. That's what I expect from him. And I know that that's blood for you. That's part of your family with him. Just the expectations of Carthage football, and are they almost crazy in a way?
It is. I mean, it's just. We'd rather it be crazy, the expectations instead of the ones that's excited to get in the playoffs or fourth round. Definitely, the 2008 team set the bar, and it's kind of been the expectations been crazy ever since. But we wouldn't have it anyway. We embellish the pressure, and you better, or you're going to be in trouble. And I hope Coach Switzer's right, and we can follow up. But we're not looking over China Spring because they may be the best team we played. I know they're the best team they played in a while.
Scott Surratt, head football coach at defending champion Carthage on Sic'Em365 Radio.
Coming up next, we'll hear from Mickey Spagnola, DallasCowboys.com. If you smoke cigars or you're looking for someone that does a gift perhaps for Christmas, a stocking stuffer, Don Humidor in the Town West Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco. Carol and Ashley run it. Tell them Smokey sent you. And they will show you around the 48-foot walk-in humidor with all the tremendous brands, the elite brands of cigars, not just the brands of cigars that are around the country, but around the world as well. Macanudo, Ashton, Arturo Fuente, Mini Cohiba, yes. Rocky Patel, yes. These are the best when it comes to cigars and brands of cigars around the world. And also including inside their 48-foot walk-in humidor, the number one cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. They have all the coffee beans when it comes to flavor and aroma as you would want, fresh coffee beans. And on top of that, CBD products. For example, Vita Dreams. You take a gummy, you take half of one, take a full one, take whichever one that makes you feel better because what it does is it allows you to fall asleep without tossing and turning and losing important sleep and rest that you need. So the morning you wake up and you're not like, oh, God, I had another hour. It will help you out, promise. Vita Dreams, part of a CBD product at Don Humidor. Carol and Ashley, tell them Smokey sent you in the Town West Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott@edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
MP Electric has developed a quality-oriented electrical contracting service in more than 20 years in the industry. Led by President Mark Perry, our electricians go through a 5-year apprenticeship program, are licensed by the state of Texas, and getting continuous education annually upon renewal. In great part, the success of MP Electric lies with its management and professional expertise of its employees. All of our employees share a dedication to quality and commitment to serving the needs of our customers. For new construction and remodels, parking lot, lighting and surge protection, landscape lights, security lights, troubleshooting and repairs. For industrial manufacturing, food and beverage, paper and publishing, heavy industry, cement and rock crushing plants, water distribution plants, and utilities. For 20 years, MP Electric has serviced industrial, commercial, and residential products. We do service right. MP Electric Inc. at 1890 Galaxy Road, Waco. MPElectricUSA.com.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
Welcome back to Sic'Em365 Radio. It's time for our weekly segment with Mickey Spagnola of DallasCowboys.com. Brought to you by the First National Bank of Central Texas, with 5 locations to serve you.
You know, I think this is a plan by the Cowboys to delay their next game as long as possible, so everyone would forget Thanksgiving Day. And yet again, that means that's the last game they've played. They're supposed to be playing tonight, right, Paul, against the Ravens?
Yeah, they were.
Yeah. But that game might happen.
But the Ravens need more than 12 hours to get ready, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, how selfish is that? Mickey, your thoughts. Did you ever think that Cowboys would ever play another game again?
I didn't know if they would play this one. I think they would play another game, but I wasn't sure where Baltimore was going to be involved in it. Yeah, you know, the other question I was wondering is when they would ever have another practice again. Because if you think about it, I think we figured out that when they practiced on Wednesday of this week, and I'm trying to get my day straight, today's Thursday, right? Mm-hmm. So Wednesday of this week, that was their 5th practice in 25 days.
Wow.
So think about it, because after they got through the Pittsburgh game, then they had the bye, and then they practiced getting ready for Minnesota, and then it was the short week for Thanksgiving, plus the fact that Marcus Paul had passed away, so they canceled the Tuesday practiced on Wednesday, played a game on Thursday, and then practiced Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The NFL closed the facilities Monday and Tuesday. And here we were Wednesday, and it's like, oh, yeah, we're going to practice for a game that got pushed back from Thursday to now Tuesday.
Mickey, so far the Cowboys haven't had too many COVID issues, but they've started, like, there's the mini bubble now. What have they done to, like, kind of expand out to prevent that?
Well, the one thing they've done for, I guess, trying to remember when they enacted it. It was before Thanksgiving. It might have been before the Minnesota game. They put the coaching staff and any of the other staff members in the organization that are with the team on a daily basis, trainers, strength and conditioning coaches, Anybody in the front office that has contact with the team, they put them in a bubble next door at the hotel here at the Star. And they just really emphasized, the protocols that they've been following, making sure that they've even made more distance in their meeting spaces because they don't meet in the rooms where they were used to meeting in. They've created position offices, if you will, or meeting rooms out in the corridors of the Ford Center. And as I think Mike McCarthy pointed out, they've given the quarterbacks the special teams and defensive meeting rooms so they can space out 4 guys. So they've done those things, the precautions. And then, that's the reason the NFL, told the teams that weren't playing Monday or Tuesday, or I guess Wednesday, that they had to shut the facilities down after the Thanksgiving weekend on Monday and Tuesday, just to make sure they were getting everybody tested and nobody ended up testing negative or positive, I should say, because of, the holiday visiting situation. So, they've just stopped short of putting the whole team in a bubble.
Mickey, with 5 games to go, what is the biggest glaring issue to you when it comes to this team?
The offensive line.
Yeah.
The fact that you had to finish the game on Thanksgiving Day with 4 of the 5 guys on that offensive line backups. That's no way to win in this league. And so you especially Zach Martin, not having him. He made a difference in the game against Minnesota playing tackle. And then the first possession, not only do you lose Cam Irving like 6 or 7 plays in, 3 or 4 plays later, they lose Zach Martin. And that just messed up the entire offense. It's hard to be able to play with that many backups on your offensive line. And I think the offspring of that is they became desperate on offense and probably made some decisions they wouldn't have normally made if he had confidence that this team could move the football. And I think all you got to do is go back to 1st and goal at the 4, and you ended up kicking a field goal from the 6 because you couldn't pick up even a yard on that possession. And I think that turned them into being desperate and making decisions that everybody thought, Mike McCarthy, fell off the apple cart. So I think that is the biggest issue and will be the biggest issue, by the way, going forward, because neither one of those offensive tackles will be back in time for Tuesday's game.
Well, and Mickey, they may not be back for a while, right? I mean, and with Zach Martin, do you even risk it if they, say they don't haul off and get back in this division race? That's one of those you might just shut down for the good of long term, right?
Yeah, I think that would be a consideration, and you're right. McCarthy said that both would be out in multiple weeks. Well, my thinking is you're playing Tuesday and then you're turning around and playing Sunday. That probably doesn't give those guys enough time, either one of them, to get back. He did mention that Cam Irving might be back sooner than they thought with the sprained MCL, but those things are usually 2 to 4 weeks. So say he comes back in 3 weeks and he makes it back in time for the final 3 games. Okay, that's great. But now you're still shorthanded at right tackle because Zach's probably going to be out, at least 2 to 3 weeks himself. And when you're playing with guys that are undrafted, one's a rookie, one's in his 2nd year, neither one of them with any experience going into this year, it's hard to run your offense. And I think it showed up. And we always talk about it showing up in protecting the quarterback. They're having trouble running the ball. Everybody wants to blame Zeke. Well, if the offensive line's the problem with the quarterback, well, it's probably the problem with the running game too.
It would have been a good week to play Baltimore if you could have played them this week. There's no question about that. Obviously, that wasn't going to happen. So, Mickey, I know there's always this debate. You're 3-8. Golly, if you make the playoffs, you're going to get knocked out early. Somebody always pulls an upset during wild card week. Do you still see them believing that they can win I know mathematically they can. Do you think this team can get to the point with what seems to be an easier schedule, although with them, who's easy, where they can win the NFC East?
I think the opportunity's there, but you have to win, right?
Yeah.
You got to win for yourself. But check this out, and you guys might have seen this. The Giants on Sunday at Seattle, Washington at Pittsburgh, Philadelphia at Green Bay. If you're a betting man, are you betting on any of the NFC East teams to win?
No.
Not at all.
I don't.
Okay.
I don't even bet on them to win when they play each other, Mickey.
And so think about this. If you find some way to win on Tuesday against Baltimore, you're tied for first place. So 4-8, nothing to write home about, but, crazier things have happened. So I think from a team standpoint, that's what's on their mind. Let's just try to win game 4. We can't do about the 8 we lost, but let's go forward. But it's going to be difficult just for the reason I told you, the way the offensive line's playing and the fact that this team cannot stop the run. They've done it in one game. When they did it with Pittsburgh. Yeah. Pittsburgh ended up having to play 5 wide receivers or 4 in a tight end because they couldn't run the ball. Well, okay, but they're dead last running the ball, 32nd in the league, giving up 156 a game. So the two problems, the offensive line and the fact that defense can't stop the run.
Mickey, do you think in the offseason that the assessment of this team will be somewhere in the middle of this is a team that certainly has potential if everyone's healthy, but there are gaps that they maybe did not anticipate having in their roster?
Like not having your starting quarterback?
No. I'm talking about outside of the injuries like Dak and Tyron Smith and all that. Yes, they have some talent, but there are positions of need that they did not fully assess or anticipate being as bad as they were.
Well, we could start with backup tackle, right? Quit nibbling with guys that have been cast off other teams to come in and be your backup offensive tackle, because you never know when that guy's got to start about 8 games. So, in my books, even if you're thinking that Tyron Smith and Lael Collins will be back ready to go next year, good as ever, I would wait. I would use I would use somewhere around a 3rd, 4th round pick on an offensive tackle, somebody to get ready for the future, and an offensive tackle that has the ability to play guard. They've done that before. After that, interior defensive lineman, linebacker. They don't want to play Sean Lee. I'm not sure why they continue to play nickel against 2 tight end offenses. I don't get it. But another linebacker, and for sure, you're going to get Trayvon Diggs back. But again, Awuzie is a free agent. Jordan Lewis is a free agent. Xavier Woods is a free agent going forward. Are you going to get those guys signed? Do you want them back? So cornerback too. So, when you're looking at the priority list, or at least the way they look at the priority list of those 3 positions, I would imagine cornerback and linebacker would be near the top.
Mickey Spagnola, DallasCowboys.com. Cowboys and Ravens early next week. Obviously, Baltimore coming off the loss to Pittsburgh, and Lamar Jackson, you would think, would be back by the time they play that game. Mickey, thanks for your time, man. We appreciate you.
David, he might be off the COVID-19 list, but will he be off in time to prepare to play?
No, that's a good point.
That's the question.
Yeah, that's a great point. He might better than what they had yesterday. Unfortunately, RG3, of course, he ran the ball well. He always has, but threw the pick 6 and just couldn't move it. McSorley came in and got a touchdown, but I would think he's a step up. But you're right, the reps could be a problem for him as well. Thanks for your time.
Okay, see you guys.
Mickey Spagnola, DallasCowboys.com. When we come back, Jeff Hume, head coach at Midway. They're about to wrap up their year. First time since 2007 they won't be in the playoffs. I think that's correct. And they have their last game with Cedar Hill. Head coach Jeff Hume will join us. Barry Switzer today at 5. And Sam Bradshaw, S11 on Sic'Em365.com, will join us at 5:30 on Sic'Em365 Radio.
The First National Bank of Central Texas. 5 locations right here at home. Waco, Woodway, Hewitt, China Spring, Mart, and Hillsboro. Familiar faces making local decisions, here to help you, your family, and your business. Whether it's great times or tough times, all of us need a bank we can count on. Great people with great technology dedicated to their customers and helping our area grow. Safe banking in person or use their online and mobile apps. Convenient drive-through and ATMs at all locations. Let's talk about their first deposit. Get a deposit check using your smartphone camera. Snap a picture front and back. Boom, choose your account, deposit it. Secure Lock Equip. You can control how your debit card is used, receive instant notifications when your card is used. You can turn it off and on when you're traveling. You control ATM withdrawals, and you can set spending limits. And that's just maybe you are traveling and you turn it on, but you lose it. You don't want somebody to get it and charge it up way up before they catch it. And if you do lose it, believe me, they'll contact you right away. They'll take care of it right away, and you have instant issue debit cards. So if you do lose it, you go right to the bank. Boom, done, over, taken care of. The First National Bank of Central Texas. 5 locations right here at home.
Car has the trucks, man. They have the one for you. Crew cab, short or long bed, silver, black or blue. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, he has the truck for you. Carr has the trucks, man. He has the truck you need. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, they have the truck for you.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
How often have you said it's time to get in shape? Every day, every week, every month, maybe for as long as you can remember? How about starting today? I promise if you'll just join Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness now, you'll thank me later. Hi, this is David Smoke, offering a variety of 40 group exercise classes every single week, including boot camp on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5:15, plus spin, body shaping, Pilates, yoga, and bar. And oh, there's a free kids club as well. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness open Monday through Thursday, 5 to 10, Friday 5 to 8, Saturday and Sunday 7 to 7, and personal trainers Christy London and Randall Court. World-class tennis facility with pros Britt Coleman and Joe Rosa with lessons, camps, and special events. Spacious and clean workout rooms, locker room for men and women, both with a whirlpool and sauna, and now there's touchless bottle filling stations. No intimidation, tremendous camaraderie, an entirely new atmosphere, and yes, you can do this, but you have to walk through the front door. It's time to react today, not tomorrow. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
It was broad daylight. I stepped into a gas station for 5 minutes to grab a snack, and just like that, my car was broken into. They made out like a bandit. My laptop, my phone, everything. I called my agent to see what could be done, and he restored my faith in humanity. My claim was processed so quickly, and I was able to recover my losses.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
If you or a loved one or friend has been arrested and you can't afford bail, trust Terry and Chase Chapman at Chapman's Bail Bonds, covering Waco and McLennan County for over 25 years. Chapman's can bail you out anywhere with experienced, knowledgeable local agents who are committed to serving you professionally, respectfully, and with the highest integrity. Chapman's understands your privacy is important. Your freedom can be secured fast when you use Chapman's Bail Bonds. Open 24 hours a day. Payment arrangements available. Call Chapman's Bail Bonds. When you need help, 254-754-1603. When you ring, we'll spring.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Hi, this is Jeff Hume, head football coach at Midway High School, and you're listening to Sic'Em365 Radio with David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
This segment with Midway Panthers football coach Jeff Hume is sponsored by Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, Southwest Sports Medicine, Automatic Chef, Bert Colchin Ford, Barrera's Landscape and Nursery, Petty Clinic Low T, Halo Athletic Center, First National Bank of Central Texas, Camille Johnson Realtors.
How important was it? You had the win earlier against Waco High, but how important was it to taste victory, and especially the way you did?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, everybody has ups and downs, and we're just experiencing that right now in our football program. I don't think it's going to last very long, but it is what it is. And for our seniors, these seniors were freshmen when we went to the state championship game, and several of these freshmen got to accompany us there, and they got to experience the very high, and now they're experiencing pretty low times. But for them to go out with a win at Panther Stadium in their last home game, I thought was huge for them. It's going to have lasting memories for them. The type of year that we had will fade from their memory, but winning that last game with their buddies out there at Panther Stadium, I think will stay with them for a long time.
Yeah, and you came back the way you did. And if you look at who you have, you're not just the skill position or who you have. I know the lines have been a little bit inexperienced compared to what you've seen or what they've seen at Midway the last decade or two. Where are you as far as the depth of this team? Not so much with one game to go, but as you move forward into the 2021.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the exciting part, really. We feel real good about our freshman class. They're very, very good. They've only got one loss on the year, and that's to Duncanville, a 22-21 game. And they got some players on there that, number one, are going to help us out next year. And then, obviously, they're just going to build from there. And our middle schools, our 7th and 8th grade programs are very, very strong. The numbers are good. So. And I like the kids we got coming back next year, sophomores, juniors. It's just one of those things that you and I've talked about before off the air. Is a perfect storm, so to speak, and having a little bit of a down year with mixed in with the district we got put in and things like that. Because I mean, if you take Duncanville and DeSoto out of the mix, South Grand Prairie, Mansfield, Waxahachie, Lake Ridge this past week. They were all good games. All of them on our way. Only one of them did in the Lake Ridge game, but we were all there, and I think that just shows that we were we're close to getting back to what we had been the last 10 years in a row or whatever it was, and I think we'll get back to there.
You're not a guy that's experienced that very much. How have you handled it?
Yeah, that's true. Like Midway, I've had a good run as a head coach. This is only my second time as a head coach in 17 years as a head coach to have a losing season. And it's, I don't like it, to be honest with you. It's not a lot of fun. I'm used to winning. I'm used to getting in the playoffs. And that's certainly going to be what we focus on when we start off season. And, we're going to get back to basics a little bit. And, that's the whole focus. But, I'm fine. Like I said, I just don't like it. I'm a competitive guy. You and I've talked about that before, and you always want things to go your way, and when they don't, you got to take a step back and look at it and say, okay, what do we need to change? What do we need to do different? And let's go get it.
Automatic Chef Canteen is a full-service micro-market vending and office coffee provider with state-of-the-art vending equipment, a wide variety of products, and offering custom-fitted micro-market vending office coffee solution for your employee break room. You want a full break room solution and workplace oasis? Well, Automatic Chef Canteen, locally owned and operated for over 50 years in Central Texas, also includes in-house mechanics on call 24/7 for fast, reliable service and maintenance. Automatic Chef Canteen, 6900 Imperial Drive, AutomaticChefCanteen.com.
Looking for quality plants at great prices? Barrera's Nursery and Landscape Company at 201 Sun Valley Drive in Hewitt is the place for seasonal plants, shrubs, trees, and perennials, as well as bulk material of landscape rock. Barrera's Nursery and Landscape has been locally owned and operated for 22 years. Give us a call at 666-9806. That's 666-9806 for all your landscaping needs. Barrera's Nursery and Landscape Company. Open Monday through Saturday, 8 until 5:30 on Sun Valley Drive in Hewitt.
Listen, in the past couple of years, we've had a lot of people moving in from out of state to Waco thanks to Chipper and JoJo. And while we welcome these new citizens, they unfortunately brought some of their bad habits with them. Hi, Jay here from Pickup Outfitters, and you know what I'm talking about. Naked trucks. You'd think everyone moved here from McNewtville. But we shouldn't judge them, we should help them. For example, when you see a recent transplant truck from a less civilized state like California, instead of saying, "Your truck is disgusting, your bed is exposed, get a bed cover on that truck, buddy," that's a bit harsh. Instead, try something like, in Texas, it's not polite to drive around with your bed exposed. Maybe you should check out the excellent selection of bed covers at Pickup Outfitters. And then if they refuse, you can say, "Well, I hear New Mexico's a nice state." Let's help our new neighbors and let them know that truck nudity is not okay. Let them know about Pickup Outfitters of Waco and send them to our website, createacommotion.com.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. And this football season, you need to stop by on game day for curbside pickup or stop by their tent next to Sic'Em365 at Brazos Parking for your pregame refreshment. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
Don's Humidor, your home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Artur Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don's Humidor in the Townwest Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
When it comes to value and great customer service, you can count on us. Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat. As a Customer First Award of Excellence winner, our customers always receive exceptional service, and during the Big Finish event, you save thousands on every car, truck, and SUV. Plus, most vehicles feature 0% financing. The Big Finish event. Now at your friend in the car business, Alan Samuels.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Welcome back to Sic'Em365 Radio.
Everybody listen up. I want to tell you something. They talk about Sooner magic and luck and all that. I want to tell you something. For 4 quarters, this football team dominated offensively and defensively the whole ball game.
The 5 o'clock hour is brought to you by Edward Jones and financial advisor Cam Heathcott. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
Now, here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
Always a pleasure, always a great segment when we get a chance to talk to Barry Switzer, former Oklahoma National Championship coach, Super Bowl head coach of the Cowboys, and with us on Sic'Em365 Radio. Coach, thank you very, very much. What are your thoughts as you see this college football playoff jigsaw puzzle with some teams playing more games or less games or everything else in between?
No, this season will always have an asterisk beside it. We all know that. Obviously, that I don't know who's I've watched enough to know Alabama's still got the best talent in the country when I've watched them play, who they've played, and they're going to probably win it again. And right now, I don't know who's as good as they are. I can't believe Notre Dame's good as they are talent-wise, but you never know who's going to win a game in 60 minutes of play. It's what happens in the game. But I think that if I was picking one, I'd go with them right now. And but it'll be the one with the asterisk. Like I said, it's been a crazy year in so many areas, and football has certainly been one of them. And it hasn't been the same. I go to our stadium here, we've got 90,000 people here in Norman, and that seat in our stadium, and to see a crowd of 25,000 in there, it's just kind of surreal to sit up there in the box and look down and see that. It's like Oklahoma, it's because they lost 2 games, nobody's showing up anymore. But I can't find the reason, but it's obviously, and I've been told here it's going to get worse and worse the next couple of weeks, and I can believe it because it's been bad around here right now.
Coach, how would you have dealt with the way the playoff is selected in the committee? Would that be a stressor for you, or you were always someone who seemed to kind of let water roll off a duck's back?
Well, I'm glad I'm not a part of it. I'm glad I'm not involved. I'm glad I don't have this exercise to deal with. I've last before been a part of that, and I've declined. And through the years, I've just I won't watch enough of it, stay up with enough of it anymore to really want to be involved. I'm kind of less motivated as you get older, I guess, that, the game, I'm doing other things and more interested in that, and spending more time doing things that mean more to me right now than watching football, pro football or college football.
When do you sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
When do you recall hearing the name Lincoln Riley for the first time, and what do you recall about just kind of getting to know him early on?
Well, Mike Leach has been a great friend of mine since I met him in '99, and when he first came here, he was offensive coordinator for Bob Stoops, and I got to know him then, and what little time we were about it, we still stay close. I talked to him several times this year. Talked to him before he took the Mississippi State job, and have to talk to him during the season. But he told me a long time ago that Lincoln Riley is the best offensive coordinator, best offensive mind he'd been around of all the ones he had coached at Texas Tech and been associated with. So I took him at his word. I felt like that what he was telling me was years ago. It's not just since he's become head coach at Oklahoma. But when he came here from Oklahoma, I think he proved it. In where was he? In Carolina, East Carolina? Where was he? And his teams were in the top 5 in the country then offensively. And at East Carolina ranked what their production was. So to do that at East Carolina and be one of the top offensive teams in the country, then obviously have the opportunity to come here and recruit the athletes they do and coach the athletes we have at Oklahoma is improve it with them is, he does it wherever he goes, just like Leach does. I think Leach will end up proving it at Mississippi State. Leach did it at Texas Tech. He's done it at Washington State. He's never had an elite program, and he's always had a second division program, and he's won everywhere he's been. I told him expected to do that with Mississippi State team.
What are your thoughts about what Oklahoma's done and how they've improved defensively? Because obviously they struggled. They've had a couple of three. It seems like at times they've struggled with their defense. You used to have like a name, not just the Selman brothers, but Jimbo Elrod, George Con. There's hundreds that you had in your run. The game was different in a way back then as well. But your thoughts about what they've done this year to tighten up the defense?
Well, they got some players back. They had some players out. When you get a running back like they've got, which is the best running back in this league, some people might argue about it, but I'm going to tell you, he's a dominant player, 240 pounds, 5'11", and the speed and quickness and running ability he possesses. Stevenson is he's going to be the top draft choice we have. And then you put Perkins back on defensive end. It's really a good player. Then they're added a couple more, and I think that they just get better. You put good players on the field, you obviously play better, and if they don't make mistakes, they're a good football team. I think they'll win the Big 12. I think they'll win out, and I think that they'll play Iowa State in the championship game in Dallas, and hopefully they'll prove that they're the best team again in the Big 8 conference. Big 8, I call it Big 8. I mean, the whole Big 12. And hell, that's 30 years ago, guys, but it's still the Big 8 to me. But go ahead.
Now, since you mentioned it, there was, and you were quoted in the article by Sam Kahn on ESPN.com about the breakup of the Southwest Conference that ran yesterday. And I've read that article probably two and a half times because it was just so fascinating to hear it from all of the people involved and the coaches, especially you watching, from where you were. What were your remembrance of that time? Because you were with the Cowboys when the league broke up, but just watching the league break up and, having so much history, even being in the Big 8 and the SWC broke up. What were your memories of that?
Well, obviously Nebraska, Oklahoma had great rivalry. That was a game that had national prominence. Obviously, the team that won the Big 8 Conference Championship, went to the Orange Bowl, and usually that team was playing the best team in the country for the national championship. That's why the Orange Bowl had 13 national champions claimed in their bowl winner as their bowl winner. But we have played Texas anyway. We play Texas every year, whether we're in the league with them, which they are now, or when we weren't in the league. They were our non-conference opponent, but they were there every year, and it was a great team to have to play as a non-conference team. And a lot of people wouldn't play at Texas every year, but we had to, so it was no different than, for us. They're always going to be there. It's one of the most important games our alumni have. A lot of people graduate University of Oklahoma, go south of the Red River to make a living, but hell, I don't know anybody that graduated Texas came north of the Red River to make a living. So it's we got a lot of alumni all over the state, Houston area, Dallas, West Texas. That winning that game is very important to them because they're alumni of this school, and they live in that state, and to be able to say be proud of their state university that they graduated when school at it. It makes their living a lot easier down there to socialize, live, and work in that state with Oklahoma winning the game if they're Oklahoma living down there. So that game was really important to our alumni, and more so than the Nebraska game, because even though the Nebraska game always meant championships for us and to play for a national championship probably, but the league needed it because it was gotten to where it was, the private schools, the church schools, they weren't what they didn't bring the attention or the money for the TV contracts to the league, and they obviously wanted to be able to compete with the Southeast Conference and Big Ten and that money package, and that's made them a lot better as a power league. But now we've lost some teams, Missouri's and Texas A&M and others that kind of run away for whatever reason. But it's not as good as it could be, and I wish that you could realign it and make it a better league. But we're not going to do that.
Coach, your first year as head coach at Oklahoma, you went 10-0-1, taking over for Chuck Fairbanks, and Dave Aranda here in Waco is going through his first year, and not the ideal first year to be going through just because of all the things that are involved, and also just a few losses that have been pretty brutal. What was the most valuable lesson you learned, I guess, in that first year as a head coach, that maybe something you didn't realize or just something that was valuable moving forward for you?
Well, first of all, I inherited a great team, but I helped put that great team together. Mm-hmm. I was the offensive coordinator. I've been here for 7 years, and as assistant head coach and offensive coordinator before I got the head job. And we'd gone 22-2. The last played for a national championship, won 2 Big 8 conference championships during that period of time. But when I was named the head coach, I was only given a 9-month contract when I got to hit the job in 1973. I told him, hell, I don't give a damn how long it is, as long as I get a chance to coach his team. I know what we're going to do with it. And then, of course, we won undefeated that next year and won undefeated next year. And went 32-1-1 my first 3 years and 2 undefeated seasons. So I knew what I had, and I knew because I had coached them for years, and I knew what we were going to be able to do and how good we'd be. Obviously, I got better than 9-month contract after the first year, but that's how it started for me. They didn't want to give a guy that has unproven guy, but these guys that give these contracts out, most of them are hired coaches who've never covered a kickoff or brought one back, and they don't know much about the game to begin with. They go along with whatever someone's country club tells them what to do or whatever, some of these regions. But anyway, I was very fortunate, and anyone that goes to a program today is usually the reason they go is because they haven't won. When they haven't won, they're not as talented. It's not because they're not a good coach, they're not successful. It's because of the talent they put on the field and who they got to play. So I look at it realistically, and always have, and teams that usually have the better talent usually win the ball. I know what games we're at, ones we were going to win, ones that were going to be tough, and the ones that maybe this team is a little better than we are this year. If we play good and be smart, maybe we'll win it in spite of that. But it's all coaches recognize that, and it's not that anybody out coaches anybody today. Everybody's good coaches out there. I believe that, and some just not as fortunate as others in some of the games played. So
Barry,
anyway,
is the spread offense in a way almost part of a wishbone type offense, the way you run the jet sweep and the way there's more rushing yards now maybe than ever before, not 500 or 600 like you could put up on occasion or maybe a lot. Is it in any way similar to the theory or the philosophy of the bone?
Well, obviously not running the quarterbacks like I did.
Sure.
Our wishbone is a fullback quarterback offense, and that's what it's designed for, triple option. But today, with formations and movement and all, you can still run the option if you're willing to run the quarterback. And your quarterback is strong enough and has the ability to take that type of punishment. My guys were strong and they're well built, had quickness and speed, and they knew that when they came into this offense, they knew that they were going to run the football, and were prepared to, or we would have never recruited them. A lot of guys, would be reluctant to play in this offense today, or we wouldn't recruit them to begin with. But it was a great offense, and we averaged. No one will ever break our record. We averaged 472 yards a game for 11 games, and 1971, and no one will, because no one runs the ball like that anymore. And a lot of games with 800 yards, one time, so we set national records, and that record still holds today. I don't think it'll ever be broken.
Let me ask you this, if you don't mind. What was more exhilarating for you, winning your first national title as a head coach, or when you won the Super Bowl with the Cowboys after all the things that people were saying about you?
Well, listen, I inherited a great football team when I went to Dallas.
I know.
Jimmy had put a good team together. At least I didn't screw it up. But people said, well, you won. I won, anyway, regardless. I could have lost, but I won. And that was, 3 years that I was there, 4 years I was there, 3 years we were in the playoffs every year. We had an opportunity, but we lost Deion Sanders and Michael Irvin my third year there, and we got beat in the semifinal round, and they were knocked out in the first quarter. So that was definitely hurt to it. We were definitely hurt with that, but the first 2 years we were a dominant football team. We probably should have won my first year there if we don't go down 21 points in the first 5 minutes out at San Francisco. Self-destructed out there, and threw an interception the first play of the game, run back for a touchdown. And second series, Eric Pope punches the ball out, and Merlin Hanks picks it up on the bounce and runs it 32 yards for a touchdown. hell, things like that were happening. And I think Kevin Williams returns the third kickoff back in front of our bench and fumbles. So our offense wasn't out there about 3 plays. Our defense played about 7, but scores 21-0. But we fought back and got it close. And but anyway, we had that disaster. But I thought we played pretty good, and we were a dominant team. And I lost Haley and Novacek my 4th year, and that's when the arrow started pointing down for the Cowboys. And a lot of players have been siphoned off because of free agency, but it was in effect back then, and it started back then when I arrived in the league. So, but it's today. It's a tough game because of everybody drafts in the first round, second round, third round. Everybody gets good players, and staying healthy in the playoffs will be the key. Having the quarterback and being healthy, not getting physically beat up. Usually the best team.
We were actually at the Super Bowl a few years ago, and I saw Merton Hanks at Radio Row. And even as a lifelong Cowboys fan, Coach, I froze. I had like a little bit of a flashback of that very moment. Said I wasn't on the sideline like you.
I do. He's out of Dallas. He's Dallas, Texas, and Merlin and I coached him a couple of All-Star games, and I got to know him well. And he became a free agent. We wanted to bring Cowboys, but it always comes down to money, isn't it? And so we weren't able to get him.
Barry, is there when you recruited at the level you did at Oklahoma, which was at an elite level, you got the bluest of the blue chips, but you had to get some that didn't come. Is there one that's still to this day that you got, Lee, that was the one that got away, or is that impossible to break into one name?
Well, yeah, Earl Campbell.
Okay.
I thought we were going to get Earl Campbell in 1973, but 72. But Earl went, obviously, we know where he went, and Earl and I would always joke with Earl about it. I said, "Damn, Earl, if you'd come to Oklahoma, we might have won a couple of national championships with you." Well, hell, we did anyway, didn't we? he laughed. He laughed at me. He said, "That's upsetting because we beat his butts both those years." But he got even with us in '77, and then he won the Heisman that year. Just think about what if Earl Campbell had been in the high formation all his career instead of stuck in the wishbone, 3 of them, So he would, there's no telling how many yards he had rushed for and how many people he had hurt with the 8-yard running downhill start.
Was he
like a Brahma bull trying to tackle him?
Man.
Was he the perfect running back? Billy Sims, you had him. You had others as well. Overstreet, of course, another East Texan. Was Earl the perfect running back in your opinion?
Well, Earl was a dominant running back, especially in high school. He gored people. He wasn't fair. He's a man playing with little kids out there. After every ball game, he should have been arrested for assault and battery. What he do the secondary is he break the line of scrimmage. You saw him do that in pro, gore people, run over them, just butt them, and keep on going. But he was, he would have been this great player. And of course, I would have played him at fullback too. But I had, at that time, I had 4 first-round players in my backfield. We were drafted in the first round, and all of them were good. But Billy Sims was the first player picked in the draft, and NFL Rookie of the Year. And he was a great player too. Different style of backs, but Billy was a slasher and make you miss and take it to all the distance. And Earl was a good one. We're all different styles. They're all great players. But in high school, he was the most dominant high school player I've ever seen. He could have made an NFL team. There were 26 of them at that time. After I saw him play, I told my staff, I said, that's the first time I've seen a high school player that I know could go make an NFL team, start an NFL team today. And he could have.
Barry, my last question for you. We appreciate your time as always. In fact, I was told, I talked to Scott Surratt today, and they're playing China Spring in a game that's in the quarterfinals, and he told me, he said that his daughter was leaving campus and that you took her to lunch, and that you mentioned earlier about things that mean so much more to you now. And what is it nice to be able to, you give back a lot more than many people ever understand that you give back to not just family, but to everybody.
Yeah, well, when you recruit players, you got them for life, 2 years. That's the difference in college and pro football. in pro football, they might not be there but 1 week, 2 weeks, then they're on the waiver wire and you never hear from them again. But you recruit them as a 17, 18-year-old kid, you're part of their life forever. And Scott's daughter is a cousin of mine, and his wife is a cousin, and her dad I knew was a Oklahoman when I came here, and I would come from Arkansas and got to meet him when I came to Oklahoma, and he was part of our family tree, and so when she came to school up here, I was kind of thrilled to death to be able to have her around and be a part of her life while she's on the campus here. She's a beautiful girl and a good student, and someone to be proud of, because she's Summer and Scott raised a good one, and hopefully her son will be a good football player. I saw him play he's an 8th grader. I tell you what, I was really impressed with his technique and his ability to play at that age. He's way ahead of a lot of eighth graders, I think, I've seen. So anyway, and Scott's going to win another one, I think. He got a chance to. He won 7. It might be an 8th championship.
Yeah, they're very good, no question about it. They're playing China Spring, a team in our backyard, and we had Scott on today. He's always been very good and had an amazing career. Hey, thanks for your time. We appreciate you and appreciate your insight on everything from college football all the way to what you did with the Cowboys and everything else in between. Thanks for your time.
All right, guys. I appreciate it. Take care, sir.
Barry Switzer, former Oklahoma national championship head football coach, and won a Super Bowl in his second year with the Cowboys, that year that they beat the Steelers in Arizona.
The king.
Yeah,
He is. That's the king right there.
He is. You talk about, it sounded like his voice was a little bit down a little bit today, but he is. He's got a little. And I didn't bring up Phil Bennett because I'd asked him about it, but he's got the Phil Bennett truth serum in him. Yeah. And I know he's one of those guys that you may not, if you don't like him, but if you're around him for 15 or 20 minutes, you will change your mind. I know if you're a Texas fan, I guarantee you, UT wishes he was their head coach right now.
Well, the only reason you wouldn't like him is because he's the coach of the team you didn't like. I mean, that's the kind of personality he had. It's not like he's done anything that would preclude you from that. He was the Oklahoma coach, and you're a Texas fan or you're an Oklahoma State fan. But sometimes look, we're all guilty of it, I guess to some degree. But I'll just use a comparison from my own fandom. I used to really hate Steve Spurrier. Now he cracks me up.
Yeah,
I love him.
Yeah. We get
you
ourselves.
Used to hate Urban Meyer. Now you love him.
Yeah, now you love him.
That one hadn't changed yet.
I do think there's a lot of Texas fans that even like the older ones that know enough that actually got to watch his teams play that absolutely hated him. But then they, over time have gotten to see him as the Cowboys head coach or on TV or on radio, and you can't help but not like the guy. Yeah. If you don't like him because of Texas, that's fine. That's understandable. But if there's really any other reason why you don't like him, I don't see it, quite frankly, because he's just he's a funny guy to talk to and a very insightful guy, and still remembers everything like it was yesterday. And I always enjoy hearing Barry Switzer.
Josh Gordon of the Seattle Seahawks has been told he can come back and play the last couple of weeks of the season. He's been in and out, of course, of numerous suspensions in the NFL, the former Baylor and gifted wide receiver. Tonight, Waco High and DeSoto play in high school football. Also, Harker Heights and Belton's a Thursday night game at Leo Buckley. Here's a stat that Scott Surratt of Carthage told me about high school football. I asked him, I said, why are you playing 4 hours away in Midlothian? And China Spring is an hour, 20, 30 minutes up to 35. He said, David, there are no stadiums because the 5As and 6As are still playing their regular season. This is their last week. There's a lot of those stadiums that we would normally, in between, we can't play there. He then put this out there. Next week will be the semifinal week for 2A, 3A, 4A, 5A, 6A. There's 10 games. Normally that week, across the entire state, there would be 20 semifinal games. 1A, 6-man, will have their semifinals this week and then state championship in a couple of weeks. He told me that there will be 128 playoff games next week because 5As and 6As will start their playoffs. 128. So that's 128 stadiums with, give or take, some will play Thursday, some will play Saturday. And that's a problem next week. Well, and that there might be a lot of games in Waco next week because of the accessibility, because Midway's out. they wouldn't probably play there, although some could. You could see McLean Stadium have some games next week because, well, no, they have Oklahoma State, don't they, on Saturday. Maybe on Friday they could host a game.
Yeah, or Thursday.
Or Waco ISD.
Or Thursday.
Thursday, exactly.
People are going to be like, this is the year we're flipping a coin and, putting your feet, dug into the ground on location probably has to go out the window because you just got to be practical.
If you didn't hear us earlier, we'll have Sam Bradshaw coming up and talk about Oklahoma and Baylor here in the next segment. Scott Drew earlier today joined us. That's up. Adam Flagler. No, we haven't played the Adam Flagler comments. Tim Brando, Jennifer Smoke, Scott Surratt, Mickey Spagnola, Jeff Hume, Barry Switzer, and Sam Bradshaw will join us in just a moment. The college football standings, games this weekend. Texas plays at Kansas State.
Okay, let's go through this and let's actually say who we think wins these.
I think Texas is obviously some guys opted out, Cosme and Stearns, a couple of their captains. I still think they go into Manhattan and they win that game.
Yeah, I do too. K-State doesn't have an offense. They simply don't outside of Deuce Vaughn. Their defense is okay, but I'd be alarmed by the fact that you got 7 or 8 sacks in the first half and got 0 in the second.
Mm-hmm.
Like that. Like, I don't know how you bounce back from that loss last week, and yet we've asked Baylor to do it like 5 times this year. But, I mean, that was a brutal way to lose a football game last weekend. So, I'm going Texas.
Who do you say?
I'll say Texas. The only reason Texas would lose is if
they mailed it in?
If their emotions are out of whack and they've seen the writing on the wall. But.
If, in fact, Tom Herman has survived through last weekend, this would be the death nail. And, of course, the following week it comes up Kansas, who gets people at Texas fired.
That's why we all got to be K-State fans this weekend. Keep Tom Herman in Austin.
Oklahoma State in Fort Worth against TCU. TCU, of course, is 4-4 overall.
Pokes.
They're going to play Louisiana Tech, though, not this week, but next. Is that right?
Pokes.
Oklahoma State, okay. And they have to win. They have to win. If they win and Oklahoma gets stunned by Baylor, then, they're back in the saddle as far as playing for the Big 12 championship game.
I mean, this will be our last glimpse of Oklahoma State before Baylor plays them, and they've got some things to figure out. I mean, they've got a solid defense. Spencer Sanders is very hot and cold, when protecting the football, but is Chuba playing in this game? With Tylan Wallace available? Oklahoma State's just, I don't know. It started off so upbeat, and it's just kind of trickled to a stop.
Well, Kansas 0-8, 3-6. Texas Tech. Matt Wells out with COVID. It's a game that it's like a tree in the. I'm not being negative because Baylor's been in a couple of these, but that's like a tree in the forest. It falls. Do you know it fell? All right. Did anyone hear it?
Yeah.
West Virginia at Iowa State. This game is dicey right now, and that's terrible because Iowa State needs a win against a quality opponent. West Virginia is pretty good, but. This game here, you hear chatter about Oklahoma and Baylor, but I hear more negative about Iowa State, whether West Virginia can play that game.
Yeah, I haven't seen much of that. I haven't really, been on Twitter a lot, so I probably just missed that. But, yeah, if that's potentially in the cancel zone, then that would be really bad for both teams because I think – even with this game in Ames, and I thought it was originally in Morgantown when I was talking to Grayson today. Once he told me it was in Ames, I was like, that makes my pick a lot easier. If it's in Morgantown, West Virginia might really have something up their sleeves. I don't think so much on the road, but, yeah, that's an important game for both, and you really hope that one can get played.
Baylor at Oklahoma. Go ahead.
I think Iowa State wins it. I think Iowa State would win it either place, but they're just playing so good right now. It's impressive.
Wonder if Iowa State that, they had the huge win at Austin because it was a game that in the last few years they've teased people. So they were able to find a way to win that game. They're 7-1 in the conference. They're in the driver's seat. And the only thing, and Matt Campbell you would think is kind of like a Matt Rule or others, you're not going to let one game be too much or one. That's the only way. I don't see them as that team that would get too high or too low unless they feel like because they beat Texas they're in it. Nah. But West Virginia, boy, at times they can really be pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. If it was in Morgantown, then maybe you think that, Letty Brown can have a big game or, potentially something kooky could happen. But, no, I think with the game at Ames, that just cements the Iowa State pick. I'd pick them in Morgantown as well. I just think it could get dicier there, but I still think the Cyclones win and wrap up their business.
Let's see here. TJ, who just cannot stand Tom Herman. And TJ's a Texas fan. I hope Texas loses for Tom Herman's sake. Now,
So Texas fans are rooting for losses.
Yeah.
Non-Texas fans are rooting for wins. A little
Yeah,
backwards.
Texas fans and Cowboys fans all want to lose.
Yeah.
They want to lose so
Tank,
they can
baby.
get what is next, which would be maybe a top 3 or 4 pick or possibly
It's
as
still
well.
the same people in charge of making the pick. So, and the thing is, the Cowboys do pretty good, no matter if it's the first pick. Outside of Taco Charlton, really, most of the time, the first-round pick they get right. That's not their problem. Their problem is the other ones. The ones that don't say 1 in front of them.
I did see this note about Iowa State, West Virginia. If that game is played, that will be the 8th school record, 8th time that Iowa State will play a team that's ranked when they play them.
Dang. That's like
that bore you?
No, I almost. Yeah, maybe it did. Maybe I'm just.
How about that?
They will play as a ranked team. Is that what it says? They will play as a ranked team for.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Otherwise, I'm trying to think of
it's actually not that impressive. It's actually not impressive at all.
Don't
but it is
ruin
for
the
them.
moment
It
here
is
with
for
me.
them.
Yeah.
I mean,
No.
you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, that's good. They've only played 9 games, right?
Yeah.
9 games. Is that right? 8 or 9 games. So that's a record for them. And that's one of the reasons why winning in Austin, when it looked like, okay, they're going to blow that one, not blow it because they were down. They were going to blow that opportunity, but they found a way to get it done. All right, and then, of course, Baylor and Norman. I was asked last night, I was on a podcast with Teddy Lehman and also Gabe Eichert, how does Baylor get to the fourth quarter and at least look up and it's not 52-17? One is that when you play Oklahoma, you have to avoid the surge early. And number 2, Oklahoma's going to have to throw up all over themselves in certain ways, right? I know they have some defensive players that might be out, but isn't that the way? Isn't that how to me? Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard for me. I can't predict a path that Baylor is going to be outside of Oklahoma being just severely depleted of being in this game in the fourth quarter, just based on the way they play and the way Oklahoma's played lately. But you never know.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, this 1-11 team a few years ago gave Oklahoma their money's worth, even though they weren't a 1-11 at the time. They were like, 0-3 or something?
I think they were 0-3 or 0-4, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. So, crazier things have happened, and it is college football still at the end of the day. And so crazy things are commonplace. But, no, I mean, I don't think too many people are going into this game with loads of optimism about what the end result will be. I think any optimism is simply as a result of, seeing what you saw last weekend and hopefully, the fact that Dave Aranda's now figured some things out and they've figured out like how this guy plays his best game and how the offense, works better with what they're doing. And I just think it's taken them some time, but they've along the way, they've been figuring things out slowly but surely. And there's still some things to figure out in the offseason, but they're on an upward trajectory right now after that win last weekend versus being on a deep downward trajectory that they were on prior to that win last weekend. So maybe that boosts them a little bit.
When we come back, Sam Bradshaw will tell us all about Oklahoma, their offense, the talent level, what they're doing better on defense. We don't know all of those who might not play for OU. Sam Bradshaw, S11 college football analyst, will join us next on Sic'Em365 Radio.
Brotherwell Brewing. Check out information on brotherwell.com. Look, they're open. I mean, I know that bars are restricted now, but they're now also kind of a dining place. Not kind of. They've got lots of different food options, whether it's food trucks or the things that are going on there. Their Instagram is always lit up with things going on. Like tonight, they've got trivia. Thursday nights, they always have trivia out in the outdoor beer garden, 400 East Bridge Street. So that's a good time. So and it's socially distanced and outside, and you can have some delicious craft beer made right here in Waco. Just again, 2 blocks down from where we are at 400 East Bridge Street. So check them out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that. But their Instagram page really pops. BrotherwellBrewing.com on Instagram at Brotherwell for Brotherwell Brewing.
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
It's the heat of the summer, but the real heat is what you're cooking on the grill, smoker, or in the oven. So Waco Custom Marketplace can be your go-to playmaker for summertime grilling. You can't go eat anywhere else? Be your own chef with custom ordered and cut ribeyes, sirloins, fillets, New York strips with a focus on high-quality beef at a competitive price. Waco Custom Marketplace also has fresh deli cuts with sliced turkey, ham, pepperoni, or corned beef. Waco Custom Marketplace also your home for the freshest seafood in town. Salmon, shrimp, mahi-mahi. Great priced chicken products, whole birds, tenders, chicken breast, and wings. Waco Custom Marketplace with smoked items unique to Waco. House-made bacon, summer sausage, boudin, hot links, and German sausage. Every seasoning for every occasion, grilling, baking, or frying. Your hometown grocery store with canned goods, pasta, fresh baked bread, buns, chips, sauce, condiments to pickles, charcoal and lighter fluid, cold beer and wine. Best kolaches in Waco, mouth-watering cinnamon rolls, and here for the community every single day, helping you avoid the long lines in crowded stores, serving quality products to the Waco community. Go online for the weekly value boxes. Family owned and operated Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recall drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at TexasTrialLawyer.com. Principal office located in Houston, Texas.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Waco's newest gym, Halo Athletic Center, 5725 Bagby Avenue, right behind Region 12 and across the highway from the Central Texas Marketplace, where motivation, inspiration, and hard work are the driving force. State-of-the-art equipment, indoor and outdoor track, locker rooms, showers, yoga and bar classes by Duality Yoga, Bod Pod potty composition analysis, and registered dietitians, all under one roof, where we rise above. Come join the Halo Athletic Center and be a part of the change, your change.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Welcome back to Sic'Em 365 Radio. It's time for our weekly segment with Sam Bradshaw of Sic'Em365.com.
Sam Bradshaw, S11, college football analyst. He gets on Sic'Em365.com, and he gets the Wolves and the Vultures stirred up with his game plans and his analysis of upcoming opponents. And Sam Bradshaw joins us on Sic'Em365.com. This is a game that no one expects Baylor to win, Sam. The talent level, obviously, with what Oklahoma has, is two great games last year, two incredible games. When you watch Oklahoma now offensively with Rattler, are they different with him, and how are they different than him than they have been with Baker Mayfield, Jalen Hurts, or also, of course, Kyler Murray?
Thanks for having me on, Smokey. First and foremost, I think the Jalen Hurts year was the biggest outlier in terms of how Oklahoma attacked, because the rest of the guys had between 5 and 10 carries by the quarterback that weren't sacks. Jalen Hurts was like 16 carries per game for over 100 yards when you take sacks out of the equation. So they are not running the quarterback as much as they were before. But Spencer Rattler's probably got the best pure arm talent that they've had. Kyler Murray is probably the only one that comes close in terms of just how the ball comes out of his hand and just being able to drop it in perfectly on just some unreal throws. Mayfield was great, but that changes how you defend them. I mean, last year there was a pretty good idea out there that Oklahoma would tear apart zone teams a lot more effectively than they would man-to-man teams, because with the different receivers they had and with Jalen Hurts, they weren't connecting quite as well. And you saw that at stretches where Baylor gave them man coverage. You saw that against LSU. You saw that against a couple other teams. And here, it seems like that would be the last thing you'd want to do, is give that kid a chance to just take the top off the defense, because he can get it there from just about anywhere. The issue with that offense, though, is they've got effectively their entire offensive line back, except for one guy that was a part-time starter at tackle. They've got 3 or 4 really versatile guys at tight end or H-back that they will use multiple of those guys on a given play. They'll put him in the slot. They'll put him split out as a receiver. They'll put him in as a de facto fullback. They'll put him as an inline blocker. And they can do that without substituting, which means they can take whoever you have on the field. They can formation you into something beneficial for their run game or their pass game. They hit you with a lot of different variations on zone, power, and counter. So they can gap you in the run game. They can zone you in the run game. And at the base of all that, they've got a passing attack that is rooted in Mike Leach's old air raid, and that they've attached a whole bunch of different bells and whistles to. Their play action game is built off that run game that's really tough to stop. And on top of all that, they design it really well. The drag route that turns up on the other side of the formation, where people have already run off the coverage, Oklahoma is the team that really started doing that in the Big 12. And they're about as good as anybody of using your base coverages and the rules your players are following and turning that on its head to get their guys open. To say that this is going to be Baylor's biggest defensive challenge of the season is to put it mildly.
Okay.
Sam, their defense has been playing a lot better under Alex Grinch. What do you see as the biggest reason that the light has come on for them?
Well, the light certainly has come on. We're not talking about an Oklahoma team making the playoff with 10th out of 10 yards per drive defense against common opponents in the Big 12. So, I mean, they've certainly come a long way since 2 years in a row of that. The thing that Alex Grinch has done is they've got a system. They recruit to it. They have an understanding of this is what we're doing. This is why we're doing it. They're in position. They don't beat themselves up with poor technique or poor alignment. You get a sense that from the top down, they know what they're doing. They're getting after it. They have an identity. It's the speed defense. They're a little lightweight at some positions, but they prioritize speed. It's not that unlike a lot of what Phil Bennett was doing at Baylor when they went to a 3-man front. You've got a lot of guys that are undersized. They're going to line up, probably show you 1 or 2 different alignments before the snap. They're going to blitz. They're going to stunt. They're going to slant. They're going to change up their coverage. They're going to use that nickel player in a lot of different ways to get into some funky variations on coverages. And they're going to apply the pressure to the offense. They're going to attack. Sometimes that gets them burned for big plays like you saw against Iowa State and Kansas State. But if you don't handle it well, they'll eat you alive because they're coming after you. They don't care. They don't care who you are. They're going to bring whatever pressure they can. And if you can't handle it, they're going to just keep pouring it on.
Oh, well, that bodes really well with Baylor's offensive line and the way they played this year. So, taking that into account, Sam, I mean, I think that there were some positives last week offensively. Obviously, Charlie Brewer kind of led the charge, and various guys stepped up and made timely plays. R.J. Sneed, for example. What did you see from the Baylor offense last week that maybe carries over to this week? And how does Oklahoma's defense obviously affect that as well?
Well, I think you're coming in going to face 2 very different defenses. I think they're both going to have some pretty quality personnel on the defensive line. That's the one area of the defense that I thought Kansas State was really strong at. The back 7 of the defense, I think Kansas State's got some rebuilding to do. But I do think on the defensive line, guys like Wyatt Hubert are definitely among the better guys in the conference, and they were able to get some pressure on Baylor And early on, Baylor was having some problems picking up some stunts. And then some of the games that Kansas State would play. Kansas State got a couple sacks when they had a fire zone where you're bringing 5 guys, you have 3 deep, and you have 2 guys kind of floating underneath in zone coverage. They had a slower developing play on when Kansas State brought that. So Brewer's waiting for somebody to come open and has to eat the ball when they didn't protect it right. And then they had another one where it was a simulated pressure where they're showing the ability to bring 6, but they only bring the outside 4. Nobody picks somebody up, and Brewer's got nowhere to go with the ball because they had a little deeper concept on. After the half, between the different screens they were running and picked up some big yards on, and some of the slide protections they had, and also just using a lot more short passing concepts so that Brewer has somewhere to go with the ball when the pressure's on, which you saw turn into a touchdown to R.J. Sneed when they brought everybody. They were able to mitigate some of that just by getting a little better offensive play call, and then also just better execution. A couple of those quote-unquote sacks were run plays. You had a quarterback draw with the ability for Brewer to throw a route, and they didn't block guys. You know, a couple of guys just got beat when they were blocking for a draw that Brewer had the option to throw on, and that accounted for a couple of them. And another sack they gave up, I think they had their safety spying Brewer. So it was a frustrating half, but I do think they made some good adjustments. I think Oklahoma is going to be a very different challenge in terms of coverages and in terms of blitz percentage. But I think it's something that they can game plan for, and they can scheme it up to where they can put themselves in some positive situations. Because I don't think Oklahoma is going to be working with a full deck of players with all the COVID and contact tracing that we've heard about. And, Baylor fans can certainly attest to, you think you have an idea who your team's going to have, but then come kickoff, surprise. 5 guys you thought you were going to have are no longer playing.
By the way, Gunny just told me to tell you and also wish you and Nancy a happy 9th wedding anniversary.
Thank you very much.
See, you never know.
Yeah.
You just.
But worries me that Gunny knows that much about you. But he seems a little off to
Is
me.
he your father-in-law?
No, he's not.
Gunny's one of the great listeners and fans of our show. All right, now, so the Dave Aranda kind of said this on Monday about Charlie Brewer. And I think he even may have said, I don't know if he said this on Saturday night after the game, but obviously what they did was different. But read 1, read 2, go. And that's kind of why Charlie was successful before with last year, the offense. And with Jeff Nixon and company. Fedora admitted that he did not watch any of the film from a year ago, which still is one of those comments that you wonder if that's ever what he really meant, and that's true. But they have been fighting against this all year. Why? Why would you wait until the second half? Do you just say, screw it, let's go, do whatever you can do? What are you doing? And even Aranda said they probably waited a little bit too long. I don't know if he said it in that way, to wait to let Charlie read 1, option 2, go.
Well, as far as Fedora not looking at prior year film, I don't know if that's something where he's just not looking at it in general, or he's not looking at it until he has a chance to get on the practice field with his guys and let his eyes kind of determine what he expects to see from guys. Because to one extent, I can understand it, because you don't want what you've seen on film to overrule what you're seeing in person. So I'd be surprised if by now he hasn't looked back at it. Since he's had some time to be around those guys. But on top of that, I think it's a mixed bag, because there are plays where you can see that Brewer is making correct reads. There's some where he's hurrying because, the guy's been battered around like a rag doll with some of the protection issues they've had. So that can certainly play into what you're dealing with. But, between the protection and between Brewer's inconsistency, I can understand them wanting to see if they can keep pushing for it. But at the end of the day, you've got to put your guys in positions to be successful as much as you want to build long-term the scheme you're ultimately wanting to run. And I think they struggle to find the right balance on that. But I think they're coming around. And I was very happy to see that they started using the quarterback run a little more, particularly in those short yardage situations. because that's a situation over the course of the season where a lot of Baylor drives were not successful because they'd get into short yardage and they'd struggle because they didn't have the +1 at the point of attack, or they'd try and run some kind of passing concept and they couldn't protect for it, or the read was missed, or somebody dropped. This is something that Baylor's shown they can be effective at in these short yardage conversions. That's something they showed going back to last year. And it just prevents, it's just another thing for the defense to have to account for, and it'll help open some other things up.
Guys, anything else?
Yeah, so kind of just piggybacking off what you just said there, Sam, do you get the sense, I mean, part of it is just guys being available, right? Because, you know, John Lovett and Treston Ebner and Tyquan Thornton and Ben Sims, I mean, all four of those guys are playmakers and returning for you last week, so that obviously helps, but just simply getting to know your guys and what they're capable of. I know people wanted that to happen in the offseason, but I mean, are you seeing that? Are you seeing them kind of beginning to learn and understand what certain players are capable of, and then therefore being able to put them in those positions, as you said?
Absolutely. I think it's something where, you know, they didn't have spring. Mm-hmm. They didn't have as much time over the fall as you'd like because they had COVID, keep them from practicing for an extended period of time. So that process is going to be inherently slower. And I think they're doing a decent job of finding ways to get guys involved. You know, not only with the running back screens that you've seen, but also some of the different concepts they packaged for Brewer, hitting Ebner for the long touchdown off of a short little Texas route against Iowa State. Just a number of different things they've done to get guys involved. Some of the ways they've gotten Ben Sims involved. I think they're getting a little better at it, but at the same time, you know, it takes time to really know what you're dealing with, because at the end of the day, these are a bunch of players that they're counting on for the most part, they didn't recruit. Right. And they didn't have an off season to get to know them in the same way that you would normally have. So it's going to take a little slower. At the end of the day, you're hoping that they keep making that progression, because the offense did really come alive in the second half against Kansas State. It was over 40 yards a drive in the second half. And I want to say it might have been over 45, but the number escapes me at the moment. And that's good offense. And, you know, you'd like to see it continue against Oklahoma. You're going against a much better defense this week. But it's also a team that's dealing with some of the COVID and contact tracing issues they have. They had to cancel a game last week, and they may have guys out. Apparently they have some defensive coaches out. So much that Bob Stoops is coming on to coach as an assistant for them, which I'm sure there's he's just the receiver's dad joke to be made there somewhere. But, you know, you've got the opportunity to keep improving, whether or not it reflects a win on the scoreboard. You want to see them go out and execute well. I do think they have the opportunity to win if they get the right bounces. I mean, a Kansas State team that I think Baylor is better than went into Norman and did it. Granted, Oklahoma turned it over 4 times and got a punt block. But if you get the right bounces and you play well, let the chips fall where they may.
Sam, as always, thank you, sir. Happy anniversary. Thanks for your time. And we'll have Oklahoma State on your mind next week. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the night and also the weekend. What was that? Was that Sam played his own?
No, that was, I'm sorry, that was my.
The hell was that? You hang up?
That was the weekend. That was the weekend. No, when I hang up, I had some music still up on my phone.
You just cut him off. He didn't even get to say thank you. Goodbye. All right, the UH-SMU game is not going to be played. That's been moved, seemed like been canceled 2 or 3 times. The Rose Bowl announced today they will have no fans.
California. I mean, but is that why are you huffing and puffing over that decision?
No, I love college football's pageantry, and we all do.
We all do.
It's the reality of it now.
Why can't I still huff? I hate it. I hate that they're not going to have fans. I'm not disagreeing with them. I just hate it because the Rose Bowl and bowl games, and it sucks. It sucks. That's it. Okay.
Yeah, I get why you huff. I mean, like 6 months ago, I would have joined you in the huff. I think I'm now huffless because I didn't expect anything less, especially from California's not even letting kids play like 3-on-3 basketball outside right now. So there's no way they're going to allow a bowl game.
Well, the 49ers moved out of Santa Clara County, right?
Yeah,
they moved to
Arizona.
Yeah. Now, a couple of other things. Like, I don't know what we're going to do. Like, Tuesday night, we had women's basketball, a game with J.D. Richards' return. Last night, the great game with Illinois. Not until Saturday afternoon, they played Gonzaga. Then the football game, 7 o'clock on Saturday. Robert Griffin III, last night at the end of the game, was taken out, and they brought in McSorley. And there's a title in the Baltimore Sun that said Ravens quarterback RG3 insisted on playing through the hamstring injury versus the Steelers. Eventually, McSorley. But Harbaugh said in his weekly news conference, he insisted that he could go out and he wanted to. He could go and he wanted to go. I thought about making the change right when I saw it. He was insisting that he wanted to go, so he did. I give him credit. He played through whatever degree it was at the time. You just go by what the player tells you. And then, of course, he wanted to play, and then eventually he took him out. And McSorley led him to a touchdown drive. I don't know how long the touchdown drive was, but he did.
It was that he threw a pass to Hollywood Brown, and the defensive back fell in front. And, if you give Hollywood Brown plenty of room, he's going to go.
Yeah, the thing about RG3 that really is a tough start was the pick six. Also, Taquan Graham, which is stunning to me that he's a senior. It seemed like he should be like a redshirt sophomore. The young man from Temple who's flashed on occasion, played pretty well at times, he's been invited to the Senior Bowl. It is hard for me to imagine that he's a senior. Just one of those guys, I guess his career
it feels to me like it was just a minute ago.
Like he'd be a redshirt sophomore, even if he was just a sophomore. So that was a little bit interesting to me as well. So there's a couple of notes on RG3, a couple other notes as well on what's happening with the SMU and Houston game. Houston and that's okay, buddy. How many games has Houston played?
Not many. 4?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I had the internet up for a second. Also, TJ, California is always going to California themselves. That's from TJ, our great friend on Twitter as well. 817, we mentioned that University of Cleveland game that was canceled. Cleveland's playing Granbury tomorrow. He goes, I feel sorry for Waco ISD. Yeah, Rodney Smith and Kwame Cavill. Some other school districts have had to deal with it quite a bit, but man, they've really been backed up quite a bit. I saw Rodney Smith at that Grandview Malakoff game on Saturday. Friday afternoon, and I said, man, he just shook his head. He's going to be the assistant athletic director there.
They played
anyway.
6 games.
6? Oh, it didn't seem like it.
Yeah, 3-3.
Yeah, okay. All right. So next week in the Big 12, I mentioned some of the games this week, so there's still another week to go, which is the buffer week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Texas, have they played everything? No, they have Kansas next week.
Yes.
That was a game that was canceled too. Has anybody in the Big 12 not had a game suspended or pushed back or canceled? We know TCU has. We know Baylor has. We now know Oklahoma has, West Virginia, which means West Virginia. We now know that Texas has and Kansas has. Texas Tech?
I don't know. I have no idea what
curious about everybody.
With, yeah.
But it hasn't seemed like it's a cluster blank like it is elsewhere.
Well, you heard Tim Brando early in the show said the Big 12 did the right thing in saying, let's start now, knowing that they were going to stop. Mac told us months before that.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
He said we have to approach the season as knowing that it's going to stop at some point or that there's going to be interruptions. So you have to plan for that. I had a talk with someone inside Baylor Athletics the other night, just helping me out working on something I'm working on. And one of the things we talked about was the way that Mac Rhodes runs things is that these people are in meetings and they're trying to plan COVID 2020 out, to the letter all year long. They've been doing that. They've been in nonstop meetings since March, since the phone call in Kansas City. They've essentially been in nonstop meetings. But there are some athletic departments that you call and be like, hey, you got a minute? Yeah, I'm not doing anything. And like, well, because they're just kind of accepted that, like, we'll just wait this thing out. Well, you're either proactive and figure it out or you're not doing anything. And I think that's the biggest problem, which, again, leads to the need for a college football czar like Tim Brando talked about. Because if you have a commissioner of this and you have standard rules across conferences, then when something like this would have gone down, he would have gone like, okay, commissioners, let's get in a room. We've got a plan, and here, let's go.
Yeah, the bunker. You go into the bunker, so to speak. Craig, can you look up real quick what Incarnate Word's football schedule is like and who they're playing this weekend? Would you mind doing that? There's a question for you if you'll find that for me. There's a reason behind that. Got a little note that I was kind of not handed in class or anything like that, but just a note about, because earlier, when we had Mac on Tuesday, and even when Tyler McComas told me there was a little bit of flare-up, and we knew that Oklahoma was kind of trying. Now, they got testing tomorrow morning. Anybody?
I mean, they haven't played anybody. Their entire season's been postponed.
I didn't even know that. Well, there was a chance, or there was some chatter, that if, in fact, Oklahoma had to move away from playing this weekend, that there was maybe dialogue to play Incarnate Word.
Well, they're supposed to play them this year anyway.
Yeah, no, it's one of the games that they were going to play. And I don't know how that's working for them, about how they're...
I mean, their season's set to start on the 12th and here in 9 days against Arkansas State.
So that they're practicing. They're going through what was, for a lot of people, August is right now. So it's not like they, haven't practiced in 3 months and they're all, they're going to practice. So that was something to throw out there. That was just a little bit of a nugget on your plans, what Mac Rhodes said, plans... C, D, E, F, and G, whatever else. Thanks to Scott Drew, thanks to Tim Brando, Jennifer Smoke, Scott Surratt, Mickey Spagnola, Jeff Hume, Barry Switzer, Sam Bradshaw, thanks to Jack McKenzie, and Armstrong Sims. How'd you do on the test, buddy? Pretty good?
We'll see.
It was
Does it sound
Francais.
It was
Francais.
French, yes.
All right, thank you as well. Thanks to Paul Catalina, David Smoke, our incredible sponsors, all of you from start to finish since we started April the 6th, and those of you who have joined us throughout that time as well. For everyone I've mentioned, for those of you who listen and also watch when you can, thank you for when you do, however long it might be, and good night on Sic'Em 365 Radio. Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Bird Culchin Ford has been in Waco since 1936. Ford, the #1 selling truck in Texas, 43 years running. And Bird Culchin Ford proudly supports high school football in Central Texas. And no better way to tailgate with a Ford than from Bird Culchin Ford. And are there better vehicles to tailgate with than the Ford F-150 or the Ford Expedition? And of course, you can get them new, pre-owned Bird Culchin Ford. Our sponsor of the Ford Tough Player of the Week, locally owned dealership. Online at bkford.com at 1701 West Loop 340 in Waco. Bird Culchin Ford.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. And this football season, you need to stop by on game day for curbside pickup or stop by their tent next to Sic'Em365 at Brazos Parking for your pregame refreshment. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.